That's Andy Brassel on everything you need to know about tonight's host, Qarabağ. Qarabağ versus Newcastle getting underway in the Champions League in 4 minutes' time. 3 other games tonight in the Champions League, all 8 o'clock kickoffs. Bodo Glimt, what a season, what a story they've had, beating Man City, Atletico Madrid to get through to this phase. They're hosting Inter Milan, who have got to the final twice in the last 3 seasons. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff, as is Club Brugge, the Atletico Madrid, and Olympiacos versus Bayer Leverkusen. A little bit closer to home tonight, Wolves versus Arsenal in the Premier League. That's the Talksport exclusive 8 o'clock kickoff. Arsenal can go 7 points clear at the top of the Premier League with a victory at Molineux. But the players are in the tunnel. Qarabağ versus Newcastle in the Champions League playoff first leg, live right here on Talksport 2. Let's now hand over to our commentary team this evening with a former Newcastle midfielder Darren Ambrose and the brilliant Jim Proudfoot.
Sam, thank you, and a very good evening to you. Newcastle on duty in the Azeri capital, Baku, a world away from the coaly Tyne. A 2,530-mile journey that is the longest an English team's ever had to make in the different guises of the European Cup. It's a trip that brings with it the difficulties of a near 6-hour flight, a 4-hour shift in the time zones, even if such difficulties will be reversed when Qarabağ visit Tyneside next Tuesday. But how Newcastle fans have longed to have to worry about logistical difficulties in watching their side in the Champions League. This is a scenario that was out of reach for years under the previous regime, which threatened to blossom a couple of seasons ago before an early elimination, and which only now has seen them emerge into the knockout stages of Europe's top competition. And against them, a team who've made stark progress year on year. From 36th and bottom in the Europa League last season, Qarabağ finished 22nd in the Champions League this, winning their first 2 games in the league stage, before a stoppage-time victory against Eintracht Frankfurt sealed their place in the top 24. Don't necessarily read too much into the 6-0 defeat at Liverpool that followed that. Eddie Howe said they were much better than the scoreline suggested. They did face 35 shots that night, but will they be able to raise their game sufficiently for the biggest tie in their history? This is how Newcastle United lineup. Nick Pope back in goal. Trippier, Chow, Byrne and Hall the back 4. Tonali alongside Willock in midfield. Ilanga and Barnes wide, and we expect that Valdemada will play as a 10 off Anthony Gordon, leading the line again on his return to the team. Then named 3 keepers on the bench. Ramsdale and Ruddy joined by young Aidan Harris. Joe Linton, back from injury, takes his place in the 21, along with Asula, Jacob Murphy and Alex Murphy, Ramsey, Shahar and Neve. Qarabağ have named the same side that lost 6-0 in that game at Anfield. 10 of this side also started the draw at home to Chelsea back in November, although there have been a couple of tactical tweaks since then. It's Kaczowski in goal, Silva, Mustafa Zada, Medina and Jafar Kiliev the back 4, Pedro Bicalio alongside Jankovic in midfield, Leandro Andrade, Montiel and Zubier, the former Hibs winger, captains the side, and Duran leads the line. Referee tonight, Espen Eskos, who is just going through the formalities of the coin toss with the 2 captains, Zubier and Trippier, about to get underway. Darren Ambrose, former Newcastle United European semi-finalist alongside me. What's a par score, do you think, for Newcastle tonight?
Well, I mean, a lot of people are saying that they need to stay in the game, but I am actually quietly confident they can take a victory. If they can take a draw back to St James's Park, it's going to be a comfortable 2-legged tie. But I think that they should be looking to take a 1, maybe 2-goal lead back. When you look at the 6-0 defeat against Liverpool, yes, Eddie Howe said they were better than what the scoreline made out. I'm not so sure. I think it could have been more than 6. So quick start for Newcastle, and this potentially could be a comfortable first leg away at Qarabağ.
Qarabağ in all black, and Newcastle, as a result of that, in their change kit of the Saudi green shirts with the white shorts, the same kit that they wore at Villa Park the other night. It's a trip to the Baku end of beyond as Newcastle aim to conquer new frontiers in Europe. Never before have they earned a knockout tie in the last 16 of the Champions League. That's the prize though on offer if they can beat the Azerbaijani champions Qarabağ, with Barcelona or Chelsea lying in wait. Newcastle kicking from right to left as we look at it in the first half, and I thought they'd want a free kick. Ilanga, victim of a firm challenge from Jafar Kiliev. The referee said there was no foul. and then puts whistle to mouth as Jankovic, the Serbian midfielder, just got caught on the top of the boot. What is going to be interesting as the evening progresses, Qarabağ will certainly feel that if they're going to go through, they've got to win tonight. So it's going to be keen to see how they approach that and at what stage they decide they've got to gamble and try and turn the screw. Barnes got possession for Newcastle. He's inside the penalty area. The angle was tight as Gordon was waiting for the ball to be pulled back on the edge of the 6-yard box. He went for the near post. Now Kuchelski can make a comfortable save.
Yeah, he did, but again, high pressure from Harvey Barnes, winning it and then attacking the defenders. There was an opportunity maybe to play to Voltemada inside the box. He didn't. He opted to go down the outside, hit with his left foot. Comfortable save in the end for Kuchelski. And yeah, going back to what you said, I think they've got a good home record in Europe. You know, winning 2, drawing 1, losing 1. So yeah, they'll feel quietly confident, I feel, and 2+ goals in their last 6 successive European home games. So hopefully we get more of the same today, Jim.
Lewis Hall playing the back for Dan Burn. As a long switch of play from him. Ball headed on then by Kieran Trippier, Champions League veteran with the Spurs and Atletico Madrid. And his experience has been so useful for Newcastle since his arrival. He was a runner-up in this competition back in 2019. And he's just slowing things down immediately, telling his players not to panic, calm things down. He's taken a throw, finds Burns, slipping in Gordon, 1-0. And he's taken 2 minutes. Anthony Gordon played in by Dan Burn, raced down the inside right channel in the penalty area, drew the keeper and slots it into the bottom left-hand corner. 2 minutes and 4 seconds. All it has taken for Newcastle to take the lead.
We asked for a fast start, didn't we? And there it was. Trippier to Dan Burn. Drove forward, played a lovely delivery, little side foot pass outside of his boot, and there it was Anthony Gordon. We spoke about his pace at the start. What a lovely finish into the far corner. Didn't panic, was cool, calm, collected, and slotted it past Kuchelski. Kuchelski had no chance. 1-0 already. What a start, Newcastle United.
And what a Champions League campaign Anthony Gordon is having. That's 7 goals in 9 ties in this competition this season. Only Mbappe and Kane have had more. And he's also now the leading goal scorer in Champions League history for Newcastle United, breaking Alan Shearer's record. Qarabağ 0, Newcastle United 1. The perfect start. Anthony Gordon's 3rd-minute goal. Already the foundation, you would think, to tie against either Barcelona or Chelsea in the last 16. And now Lewis Hall has turned over possession. And he will work it inside the penalty area. He's stabbed away from Voltemada. And Jankovic can turn on the edge of his box and bring it away from Nick Voltemada a second time. And Qarabağ twice caught in possession inside their own final third in the opening 3 minutes of the game. Worked it forward here for Montiel. Down it comes from him to the right-hand side of midfield for Leandro Andrade. Pushing forward from right back is Silva, the Brazilian defender who scored against Ajax earlier in this run. Montiel has it again now. And Montiel working it to Pedro Bicalio, and now to the centre-half Medina, the Colombian. Is a very settled Qarabağ team in terms of personnel over the course of this season, but also over the last few years. They've got several in this starting lineup who played well over 100 games for the club. And when you've got a manager who's been at the helm for 18 successive years, that continuity is something that they've built on very successfully. Got it here with Montiel, playing it out wide to the fullback Jafar Giliev. Montiel has it again, wearing 9, getting towards the byline. He's overrun that, I think, before he drove it back in. Nick Pope caught it anyway, but it is going to be a goal kick. 5 gone. You would Talksport 2. Newcastle already ahead, courtesy of an Anthony Gordon goal.
Yeah, the worst possible start for Qarabağ, and it was just a lovely finish. We're lucky to see it again on our screens. It was a beautiful through ball from Dan Burn, and he slotted it past Kuchelski, who had absolutely no chance. But it's a good reaction, actually, from Qarabağ. Montiel looks a danger, finding space in that number 10 slot. They need to get a grip of him, I'd say, but they're winning it high up the pitch, playing a high press. Lewis Hall won it. Medina ended up clearing. That was finding its way to Anthony Gordon. It's a good start from Newcastle United.
And another free kick is given away. It's Gordon who was the perpetrator of the foul, just catching the centre-half, Mustafa Zada. And a free kick that the Azerbaijani champions will take. They're not top of their domestic league at the moment. Haven't been in wonderful form, but just 4 points adrift. And still, I think, favourites to end up being champions. Bringing it forward quickly here. Zabir on the left-hand side. He's pulled it back through the penalty area. He's beaten the couple. It'll foul Montiel. Tonali trying to stop him getting a shot in, and has succeeded. He works it wide in the end for Andrade, whose cross is well defended by Trippier. Shifted across from right back and found himself just doubling up behind Lewis Hall. Great reading of the situation defensively there from Kieran Trippier, seeing where the danger was, but that was a nervy moment. First corner of the game goes Qarabağ's way. 6 gone. 1-0 Newcastle. Taken short, worked in, Pope catches it. Danger averted.
Yeah, danger averted, but again, it's a good reaction. It was a lovely touch around the corner from Camilo Duran that freed Zubir down the left-hand side, and he just couldn't find his man in the box. Eluded everyone, and they got away with it there. I think Newcastle started extremely well. Good reaction from Qarabağ. They just need to get a grip to this game, Newcastle, and go up the field and maybe try to get another one early.
Anthony Elanga, it's a good ball forward. And he's played in Willock, who's kept his feet. Willock to Barnes, and the goalkeeper makes the save. And eventually they can get it away, but only after it's gone over the dead ball line for a corner. 3 sights of goal in the opening 7 minutes. And I talked about the fact that in that game at Anfield, they faced 35 shots. Well, the way that Newcastle are going, they could be up to a similar number by the end of the
Yeah, they certainly could, and that's really good play. Anthony Elanga coming at him from the right-hand side, getting it, turning on the back foot, finding Joe Willock. Just got caught under his feet, or he'd be on a one-on-one. Held up, played Harvey Barnes. The strike didn't have much conviction. Good save in the end, but as you said, they're conceding too many shots. Qarabağ once again.
7.5 minutes gone. Keeper's had to make 2 saves and has already been beaten. Trippier preparing to take this corner. He's worked it short across the edge of the penalty area. 2-step over it. Tonali fires it in. He's blocked. Comes back out for Trippier again. Right-footed. Plenty of air underneath. Out, headed down and in by Chow. And then 2 up after 8 minutes. Great set piece. So well worked. Tonali firing it in. That could easily have crept in, but it hit a defender. And then a beautifully shaped ball towards the far post. And Chow just climbed the highest. Really poor zonal marking, and Chow just made the run, powered it into the bottom left-hand corner. Newcastle, 2,500 miles from home, but they're in dreamland, leading by 2-0.
What a header. What a header for Malik Chow. And it was a lovely worked corner, as you said, one off the training ground. Kieran Trippier looking to put one in the box. Goes to the edge of the box to Lewis Hall. He overs it. It's a great strike from Tonali. It's a good block. Finds its way out to Kieran Trippier. We know what he's like with a delivery. He bends one in where the defenders don't like it. There was Malik Chow. And we spoke, didn't we, Jim, that they're a big side, Newcastle. But that is a wonderful header into the far corner. Kaczowski, once again, absolutely no chance. What a dream start for Newcastle.
Malik Chow's 5th goal for the club. He's been such a good acquisition since his £35 million move from Milan. He's only ever scored 1 Champions League goal before. That was at the Bernabeu.
Wow.
And now has doubled his tally, although the kickoff hasn't been taken yet. The referee is seemingly still in consultation with the VAR, Rob Dieperink. But the goal does stand. And it is 2-0 Newcastle. 2 up in 8 minutes. Everything that they could possibly have hoped for in the early stages. 5 shots in the opening 8 minutes. 2 of them have gone in. It's a goal kick that will be taken by Qarabağ, who will probably, realistically, already feel that the biggest tie in their European history is beyond them.
It's a dream start for Newcastle, but it's a worst possible start. 1-0 so early, 2-0 in under 10 minutes. If you're Eddie Howe, you're looking to seal this tie on this leg, because they have to change now, Qarabağ. They have to change. They have to put it to Newcastle, and it's going to open up all sorts of spaces for them to counter-attack, which they've done so well in the opening 10 minutes.
Silva, the right back, just got caught around the side of the head And it's going to be a free kick that Qarabağ will take on the right-hand touchline. It is the first ever meeting, unsurprisingly, of these two sides. And as was mentioned in the build-up, the only positive result Qarabağ have ever taken against an English side was when they drew 2-2 with Chelsea at this stadium back in November. They've lost the other 8. And seemingly they're going to be losing this one. Long way to go, of course. And I'm not just talking about the flight home. Free kick that will be taken by throw that will be taken by Jaffa Kiliev on the Qarabağ left-hand side. He's Azerbaijani international. Throws it down for Zubir, the Frenchman ahead of him, who had the brief loan spell at Hibs back in the 2013-14 season. The longest serving of the current crop of players, nearly 350 games to the club behind him. Ball stabbed back in by Silva, who was panic-stricken, and Voltemada was nearly there. Silva's next touch was much better, turning it neatly with a back heel flick down the line for Montiel. Hall has done fantastically to win it back. Squeeze it behind the fullback for Barnes. Barnes knocking it on. Newcastle hungry for more. Willett gets a shot in on the turn, but straight at Medina. And Qarabağ are going to be able to block and get it away. Tonali then winning it in the midfield and try to buy a throw off Montiel. He failed, but it's going to be a throw that'll be taken by the hosts instead. 2-0 Newcastle here on Talksport 2. We still only played 12 minutes.
Yeah, brilliant. And Lewis Hall, what a tremendous football player he is. Young left back for Newcastle, winning it high up the field. He's really setting a precedent to this team. High press, winning it, and it's exactly what you want to do. There's a party atmosphere before kickoffs here, and you've quietened them down already.
Gordon Voltemada linking up. Hall instigating the start of this move as well. Now the ball played through the midfield for Willock, who will pirouette and get it out towards Kieran Trippier on the Newcastle United right. Down it comes now for Trippier, flashing it in. Gordon was waiting. That Medina got it away, only as far as Willock, coming onto it on the edge of the penalty area. Now he's set up Hall. Hall to Barnes. Barnes inside the box, opening it up, trying to get the angle in for a shot. Little 1-2 with Willock. He's played back. Goalkeeper got in the way, and it was cleared from in front of him by Pedro Bicalio, almost on the line to stop Newcastle getting a third. Hall wins another 50-50 in the midfield. A little bit physical on Jankovic, who didn't like the challenge. The referee convinced it was fair, told him so. Byrne, back for Chow. Score of Newcastle's second. Now for Kieran Trippier again on the Newcastle United right. Worked in towards Willock. He can turn. Anthony Gordon dropping off from the number 9 position. And he just brings the ball through the centre circle. He's got Ilanga making his way through the middle. Gordon's continued his run and takes it on the turn. Forces Ilanga to play an early ball, which Jankovic read. And now Qarabağ will get it forward quickly, but Chow, real Rolls Royce of a defender, is there and can get it away from the striker Duran. And then Byrne and Tonali will get it back out to Lewis Hall again. This game brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. Gordon on 3 minutes, Chow on 8. 2-0 Newcastle. It's Gordon. He's clean through. And the goalkeeper makes a save at a 1-on-1. And that should have been 3-0 in quarter of an hour and all over. Here's Ilanga coming forward now. Challenge on him from Jankovic. Barnes tries to win it back, but Medina knocks it away. Newcastle missing a glorious opportunity there, as Gordon just broke through the middle between the two centre-halves. They can't deal with the pace and the movement and the variety of the movement from the Newcastle forward line.
Yeah, he has to score that for me, Jim. Anthony Gordon, he gets through. He opts to take it on his left foot. Maybe he could have taken it on his right foot, but he has to score. He's, 14 yards out. Goalie comes out, does well, actually. Kachowski saves it with his legs. But if they're not careful, Qarabağ, this could be a worse scoreline than the Liverpool match. This could be more than 6-0. This, at the moment, it looks like Newcastle can score on every single attack. But as we said before, it's not over. They've scored 2+ goals in their last 6 home European games. So it's not over yet, but Newcastle could end this. This tie could be ended already.
Well, it's hard to make a case on the strength of what you've seen so far for Qarabağ having any kind of chance over the 165 minutes of the time that remains. The second leg next Tuesday night at St James's Park. Voltemada plays it forward. Here comes Gordon again, and he's only got one defender between him and goal. Still he goes inside the penalty area, checks back onto his right foot, sets it up for Barnes, who drills it wide of the near post. And out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, brilliant. Once again, the break, Voltemada in that number 10 role, and you called it a couple of minutes ago, they can't deal with the pace. And Andy Gordon running through, double step over, cuts inside the defenders, finds his teammate Harvey Barnes from about just outside the box, just hooks it wide, where maybe the best opportunity was to open his body out and hit the far corner. It was actually deflected for a corner that I think has been missed. It hasn't been missed.
No, it has been given. It's a corner which will be taken on the Newcastle United left. They scored from the last one, and at least in the second phase of play from it. Tonali's come across to take this. Hall is in there. Lots of movement in towards the near post, including from Chow. It's delivered in very deep. They created that space brilliantly for Gordon, whose head is in his hands as he makes no contact with the delivery. They all start wide of the far post, and then 4 of the 5 make darting runs in towards the near. They took their markers with them, but that created space at the back post for Gordon, and he couldn't get his header on target.
Yeah, maybe they should have switched it up a little bit, put Gordon as one of the runners coming in and leave Voltemada out there to put the header, but maybe it would have been set up differently from the defenders. And we're looking at a replay here, Jim, and there was talking about, was it Kieran Trippier? Was the shot coming from Tonali, whether Kieran Trippier was offside, the original corner taker? And we've seen the line that's been drawn, and he's 2 yards onside, so it was the rightful decision to be given the goal.
Yeah, that was why they had a 60-second check. It was an abnormally long check after the Chow celebration, when you then see the still and see how far onside he was. Trippier getting the ball forward. Now, there is VAR today. Wasn't, of course, at the FA Cup tie at Villa Park on Saturday night. Now, here's Dan Burn. Newcastle 8 attempts and 5 of them on target through the opening 17 minutes, and Qarabağ haven't created anything. Nick Poper's got the deck chair out at the moment. Here's Harvey Barnes bringing the ball forward again down the Newcastle United left, into the feet of Elanga, back for Hall. Down for Barnes. Hall, Voltemada, just clipped over the top. Barnes stumbled as the ball went past him, and it'll be cleared by Mustafa Zada in behind him. How to play for a throw. Newcastle back in action on Saturday night. They're at Manchester City in what otherwise would have been a 12:30 kickoff when it was picked for television, but because of Newcastle's European commitments, it had been moved to 8. That doesn't stop us bringing you live exclusive commentary of the game. 8 o'clock Saturday night, Manchester City, Newcastle, and it's over on Talksport with Stuart Pearce alongside Sam Matterface for that game. 18 minutes gone. Qarabağ 0, Newcastle 2. Tonali. Ball played forward to Willock. Out to Chow. Down the Newcastle United right for Kieran Trippier. Worked inside by him for Willock. Now to Elanga. Elanga continues his run. Jankovic is back to cover his run, but Elanga is beating him, and in the end there's a wrestling match between the pair of them that ends up in the Swede going to ground. Jankovic can't have any complaints at all with that. And it's a free kick to Newcastle about 4 yards from the corner flag. Yeah, no complaints whatsoever. Quicker, stronger, wanted it more. Elanga out-muscled him in the corner, and then Jankovic just dragged him to the floor. And they'll probably set this one up as a corner as well. It's so close to the corner flag. They just haven't got going at all, Qarabağ. Newcastle have been brilliant since the first whistle. So none of the Newcastle players are too high inside the penalty area, at least to start with. Now they come forward. Voltemada, Chow and Byrne all slowly making their way towards the far post. Lewis Hall can get some real swerve on these deliveries. It's a left-footed in-swinger from him. He's almost gone for goal. Goalkeeper Kaczowski got his hands to it to beat it away. Gordon tries to pick up the seconds outside the box and can't do so. It's then cleared into him by Zubir and put out a play for a throw to Qarabağ. But what a delivery that was from Lewis Hall. Yeah, fantastic. I think you're right. I think he shoots. He does well. He does exactly what you want him to do. As we look at the replay, hits a real fast, dipping, bending shot towards the far post. Good goalkeeping, actually. Kaczowski, who's done reasonably well
in this opening 20 minutes, even though they're 2-0 down. He had no chance for the goals, but yeah, beautiful delivery. And if he had missed that, I think Harvey Barnes was coming in behind just to head it in. What a start. What a performance at the moment. Perfect at the moment.
Well, he's made one big save, the goalkeeper, in denying Gordon in a one-on-one. He's made 2 significant ones other than that. I mean, if Newcastle were 4 up at this stage through 20 minutes, there could be absolutely no complaints. That would be a fair reflection of their dominance.
100%, no complaints whatsoever. We've seen Harvey Barnes have a couple of opportunities, maybe 3 opportunities, a couple that he could have done better. You've seen Voltemada getting in good positions. You've seen Anthony Gordon missing a glorious opportunity to make it 3. This could be over already, and there's 20 minutes gone. The fact it is only 2-0, it's not quite over yet.
Well, it is over for one of the Qarabağ centre-halves by the look of it. Mustafa Zada is coming off injured. He was the player that scored the stoppage time winner against Eintracht Frankfurt back in the group. He didn't miss a minute of action in the Champions League stage, but he's coming off tonight just 20 minutes in because of what may well be a slight hamstring problem. Not too sure as of yet who's going to be coming on to replace him. It may well be the Moroccan centre-half Sami Mai, but we'll confirm that for you in a moment. Qarabağ getting the ball forward towards halfway. It's nodded down by Dan Burn. The retreating Lewis Hall plays it back to Burn, who peels away towards the edge of his own penalty area before Tonali gets it forward. Then it's just nodded on in the midfield by Willock. But they can work it down through the right-hand side of midfield, and the recently arrived substitute Danny Bolt picks the ball up when the whistle has gone. It's going to be a free kick to Qarabağ inside their own half. So Danny Bolt on. He's a Brazilian right winger come right back, really. So I would imagine that Mateus Silva is going to be moved inside to play at centre-half, and that's how they're reshuffling things after a torrid opening quarter of the game. Voltemada was the player that gave this free kick away. And it's going to be taken after the foul on Pedro Bacalhau, about 10 yards inside the Qarabağ half. Coming up, more live football for you tomorrow night. Fenerbahce against Nottingham Forest and Celtic Stuttgart. A double bill here on Talksport 2. And live exclusive action from the Black Country tonight. Wolves taking on Arsenal. Arsenal can go 7 points clear with victory. Now, there's just a brief break there. They were having a look at that challenge from Voltemada to decide whether it was a potential red card offence or not. It hasn't been upgraded, and the play has restarted. Did it look that bad challenge to you?
It looked sore. It looked a sore one. It was one of those just mistimed, and he got his studs into his ankle.
As Danny Bolt brings it forward here for Qarabağ and wins the throw.
I don't actually think he was even booked, to be honest. So the official didn't see enough to make it a yellow card. And obviously VAR can't say it's a yellow card, but there wasn't enough for a red. It was just slightly mistimed, studs into his ankle. Wasn't enough for a red, but probably should have been a yellow.
Nick Pope, with his first piece of work all night, comes sliding out to the right-hand side of his penalty area as the centre-half, Kevin Medina, slipped one down the inside left channel. Pope saw it and was able to get there ahead of the striker, Camilo Duran, the Colombian, leading the line for Qarabağ. Has opened the scoring in the last 2 home games in Europe, but not tonight. Gordon on 3 minutes and Chow on 8. And it's 2-0 Newcastle United. They could have had 5, probably should have had 4. But they'll certainly make do with 2. Sandro Tonali's just caught the recently arrived substitute Danny Bolt on the top of the foot. A slightly mistimed challenge. He went down with the studs of his left boot on the toes of the left boot of the opposing player. Play goes on. Tonali, Barnes doing well to hold it up, down towards Voltemada, back in field towards Gordon. Gordon to Tonali. Tonali's got Barnes ahead of him. He's got Elanga there. He's got Gordon there. He slipped it back in for Harvey Barnes, and the goalkeeper comes out and makes another fine save. 5 against 2 there for Newcastle. They just couldn't work it. Played back towards Barnes, getting the shot in, and Kaczowski came out and got a right shoulder to it to be able to beat it away.
Yeah, it's a brilliant move once again. Started and finished by Harvey Barnes. perhaps when Anthony Gordon picked it up, he chose the wrong option. I think Joe Willock was down the outside, open. He found Harvey Barnes. Anthony Elanga, who made a forward run, just got in his way, and it allowed Kaczowski to come out and shut down the angle. Honestly, this could be 5 already, and it should be.
Trippier taking this latest goal in Newcastle's third. Goalkeeper punches it away. He's put under real pressure. Montiel heads it further away on the edge of the box. Elanga tries to volley it back into the fray, just succeeds in sticking it high up in the air. It's half clear. Voltemada then nutmegged by Montiel, and the counter-attack could be on with Zabir, the left winger for Qarabağ, who's got movement ahead of him. It's the left-back Jafar Kiliev outside him, and he wins the corner as he fires in a low left-footed cross. The cannons away, back off the retreating Lewis Hall.
There's the danger, the lack of concentration maybe. Their own worst enemies at the minute, Newcastle, when they lose possession.
Corner's been taken short. It's worked inside the penalty area. Duran can't get a shot in. It's well defended. Comes back outside the box again. Duran with a little back heel flick, and they've won another corner. The camera panned a couple of minutes ago to Eddie Howe, sat on the bench, and he had a long face on him. And you can understand why, because this already should be over. The ball comes in from this latest corner, flicked on by Duran, then hits the defender, Dan Burn, and goes out for another throw that'll be taken by Danny Bolt. Newcastle 2 up. But when you factor in that last Barnes chance, it really should be a bare minimum of 4. They've been so superior. Just haven't quite been able to put the game to bed as yet. Zabir through the midfield towards Duran. Chow's in there with a strong challenge. Elanga can bring it away. Now Anthony Elanga driving through the midfield. A midfield which has been decidedly porous at times, it has to be said. Brilliantly won back by Willock. And now he's fired an early ball for us. A great pass as well. Gordon trying to bring it down. Barnes is in there. Gordon comes past him. And the goalkeeper comes out again and gets something on it to beat it away. Another corner.
It's incredible. They are so far ahead of them at the moment. Let's face it, 2-0. Harvey Barnes had a chance earlier that he should have scored, and Anthony Gordon has 2 chances that he should have scored. Not could have, should have. That should be 5 already.
Well, outstanding goalkeeping from Mateusz Kaczowski, the uncapped Polish goalkeeper. But he's certainly been busy. Been so busy that you almost can't help but have 2 or 3 good moments. He has kept his side in this tie. It is no exaggeration, at the risk of hammering home the point, to say that Newcastle should be 5 up inside half an hour. They should be 5 up. They could be more. They should be 5 up. Corner to be taken over on the Newcastle right then. Lewis Hall to take it. Plenty of jockeying for position going on. Burns stands by the penalty spot now. He makes his way, and that's creating space for Barnes, whose shot is blocked. Willock's shot is then blocked. The shot count already up to 12. And Tonali ends up picking up a loose ball over on the touchline and going back to his goalkeeper, Nick Pope.
Yeah, brilliant corner set play routine again. A short one, back out to Lewis Hall, and then plays one just as the on-run in... was it Barnes come round to the penalty spot. Good block, comes back out to Willock. Took too long in my opinion, controlled it, hit one, another good block. But yeah, when you said we're looking at Eddie Howe and is disappointed, he's certainly going to be disappointed as we see something now, Jim.
Yep, it's a VAR looking at a potential penalty incident. So we're talking about the blocks, and
that looks like it could be.
I think a penalty, because it is a European game, might be given against this. This would not be a penalty in a Premier League game, because the defender involved, who is Silva, has thrown himself down to the ground. The ball has hit his left hand. He's put his arm down to break his fall. Now, in the Premier League, that does not get given as a penalty.
Yep.
In this game, it might. And Espen Eskås, the Norwegian referee, has been told to come out and look at the monitor by the Dutch VAR.
Do you know what, Jim? This is so harsh if this is given, because he's trying to block the shot. Initially, I thought it was a great block. He's not facing the ball. His right arm is connecting with the floor, but then saying that, the shot's probably going into the bottom corner. It may be blocked, as we see the decision now.
So Espen Eskås comes back. Is it going to be a penalty to Newcastle? Yes. If that is given against you, you would be absolutely furious. And as I mentioned, he wouldn't be in the Premier League because his arm has gone down and he's breaking his fall. It's hit his hand only about 3-4 inches off the ground. But Silva has seen the penalty given against him, and Newcastle have the chance to go 3 up with half an hour on the clock.
It's extremely harsh. It's extremely harsh. Look, it definitely should be 4 or 5-0, as we said before, and it's probably going to go 3-0, but we have to call it as we see it, and I think that's harsh. He was breaking his fall. It was probably going to get blocked from Andrade behind him as well. There was a lot of defenders. He's not even looking, and it's clearly hit his arm. And as you said, in these European ties, it's a different rule altogether, so you could see why it's given in, but it wouldn't be given in the Premier League.
So Anthony Gordon, who has scored 1, has seen 2 one-on-one saved by the goalkeeper, but he now has the chance to beat Kaczewski again from 12 yards to give Newcastle a 3-0 advantage and score his 8th Champions League goal of the season. Some record that in 9 ties. Breathing heavily as he stands motionless 15 yards from goal. It's only going to be a 3-pace run-up for Gordon, who just adjusts his shirt, pushes his shoulder up, takes another deep breath. In he comes, right-footed, past Kaczewski and in. Qarabağ 0, Newcastle United 3. And they already through to the last 16 of the Champions League. This has been a job done in a sublime manner. 3 up going on 7 with half an hour on the clock.
It's been a rout. It's been an absolute rout. Whether there was a mistake in giving the penalty, there was no mistake in the penalty take. Anthony Gordon, what a penalty. Kaczewski went the right way, outstretched his left arm, had absolutely zero chance. The power that he put in that to whip it to his left, the goalkeeper's right. Absolutely fantastic penalty. And I see him take one in the last minute against Bournemouth in the FA Cup. Never thought he'd miss then, didn't think he'd miss now. And 3-0 is definitely the right result at the moment.
Well, this is a Newcastle side that won very convincingly out in Belgium earlier this season against Union Saint-Gilloise. They won that 4-0. But that is one of only 2 away wins they've had in their last 15 continental matches. That's a statistic that is certainly going to be improved over the course of the rest of the evening. And now it's a real mental test for Qarabağ, who've lost it again. And he's on a hat-trick, Anthony Gordon. And there it is. 15 seconds from the kick-off, if that. Anthony Gordon has a Champions League hat-trick for Newcastle, who have destroyed Qarabağ in barely half an hour. They lead 4-0. Qarabağ taking the kick-off. A loose touch back to one of the centre-halves, and Gordon ran through, dispossessed him, fires it past Kaczewski, who lies on the ground stricken, and it's Qarabağ 0, Newcastle United 4, and they have absolutely battered them.
This is incredible. Straight from the centre, Voltemade wins the ball back, finds its way to Kevin Medina, should have done better, miscontrols it. Anthony Gordon pounces on it, and there was no missing. He takes it round Kaczewski, drops to his knees, takes it round, and just toe punts it into an empty net. When Eddie Howe and these Newcastle players went to sleep last night, they couldn't have dreamt of the first half being like this. Incredible performance at the moment.
Just stunning. Anthony Gordon with a hat-trick, and he will feel that he should have had 5.
You know what's happened, Jim? I'm just watching the replay. Medina, when the ball goes to him, as Voltemade intercepts it from the centre, he goes to hook it with his left foot away from Anthony Gordon, and as he done it, it hits his right knee and bounces right in front of Anthony Gordon, and he done the rest. Brilliant.
Qarabağ 0, Newcastle United 4. We've played 35 minutes. 2 goals in the space of a minute and a half, but in terms of actual time that the ball was in play on the field, I think it's 2 goals in 9 seconds.
Wow. And you know what, Jim? We're 35 minutes into this match. Does Eddie Howe think of making a few changes? Does he get some of these important players off? With the depleted squad they've got, Anthony Gordon, hat-trick already. He won't want to, by the way, because he could see 4, 5, even 6 goals in this game if it carries on like this.
But yeah, why not? Why not have a look at Sean Neve in a European context?
Agreed.
And Leo Shaha? Just bring them on. This is done. Not just tonight, this is done as a tie. And there will be Newcastle United supporters who undoubtedly will have tickets for the second leg at St James's Park next Tuesday who wanted a little bit of jeopardy. It's just going to be a celebration. We welcome listeners from Talksport. Newcastle 4 up away to Qarabağ. It should be 7. It could be 9. And they have, to say that they've been utterly dominant and destroyed the Azerbaijani champions would be an understatement. Anthony Gordon's got a hat-trick. Newcastle have had 15 attempts without reply, 10 of which on target. They have had a controversial penalty go their way in the midst of it all, which Gordon scored. That was his second. He then scored his hat-trick goal just 9 seconds after the kickoff. Coming forward again with Barnes hooking it in, and it's volleyed away. Hall brings it down and tries to get a volley towards goal, but that is blocked. Anthony Gordon opened the scoring after 2 minutes and 4 seconds. Malik Chow made it 2 with a far post header 6 minutes later. The penalty, controversial because it hit the hand of the defender who's breaking his fall, falling to the floor. And that was converted by Gordon, who then, after Voltemada won possession back, ran through and took a one-on-one to make it 4. Darren Ambrose is alongside me watching the game on Talksport 2. And it is no exaggeration to say that it hasn't been a masterclass of finishing for Newcastle. They should literally be 7 up. Literally.
It's been a demolition job that they've put on. However bad Qarabağ has been, Newcastle have been absolutely fantastic, pressing from the front. And you look at Harvey Barnes, Anthony Gordon, Anthony Elanga, Voltemade. There's not a time that Newcastle have gone forward that I haven't thought they could score. It's been a ridiculous performance, and one Eddie Howe must be so proud of his team travelling all this way as they're on the attack once again.
With Nick Voltemada, who's got Harvey Barnes outside him. Voltemada turning. Qarabağ looking depleted and deficient in every area, and psychologically they've taken any number of blows in the opening stages of this game as well. You can tell they just want the whole thing to end. Lewis Hall making his way forward. Find out how many Newcastle end up getting live with Darren and myself over on Talksport 2. They're 4 up with 7 minutes to play in the first half. Bantonali's got it. Ball is down with Lewis Hall. Hall towards the edge of the penalty area. Back from him to Barnes. Barnes out of the right-hand side of the midfield for Kieran Trippier, and back it comes for Tonali. 7 minutes to go to half-time here on Talksport 2 with Dan Burn in possession. Burn to his right-hand side for Chow. Kieran Trippier made the run, but it's brought under control by Jaffa Kiliev, and the left-back can bring it forward and out to the left-hand touchline. I can't remember seeing a side so utterly dominant away from home, I think, in any competition, let alone the Champions League. I'm just trying to find precedents. I mean, Arsenal obviously hugely impressive, 4 up inside 26 minutes against Wigan, but that was a match at the weekend against a side 2 divisions below them. But this is a team that had 14 teams finish beneath them in the Champions League stage. But they've actually got another corner now as Leo Andrade brings it forward down the Qarabağ right and flicks it into Dan Burn.
It just looks so easy, doesn't it, Jim? It looks so easy. And as I said, no exaggeration, every time they've gone forward, I felt there's a good opportunity for them to score. As you said, 15 shots, 10 on target, 4 goals already. Perfect performance, apart from finishing probably.
So in comes the latest corner from Montiel, and he's just chipped it into the hands of Nick Pope.
Just an absolute waste, and they're already on the attack. Nick Pope, you can see the intensity straight away to Kieran Trippier.
And he's got it forward towards Elanga, who's been brought down 5 yards outside the penalty area. And the referee has given a free kick Newcastle's way. You're listening to Qarabağ Newcastle in the Champions League. It's live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they're here for it. I think one thing that he would really be hoping to see is a stellar performance from Anthony Elanga tonight, Eddie Howe, on the basis that there haven't been that many so far since he's moved from Nottingham Forest. He's Not really hit the heights that we've seen earlier in his career so far, but this might be a game to play him into form.
Yeah, build your confidence up against a team like this. He'll be looking to get a goal. Of course, there's more goals in this game. And one more thing, a clean sheet. He will be crying out for a clean sheet tonight.
Trippier and Elanga standing over it. Trippier's flicked it back. Elanga fires it in. Oh, and Dan Burn sends a header towards goal that is caught by the goalkeeper, Kaczowski. If he got it either side of him, it was 5-0.
Another one, Jim. Should be a goal. Dan Burn will be really disappointed at that. 1 yard either side. It's another goal.
And now Harvey Barnes brings it forward. Barnes through the midfield for Hall. Hall down the left-hand side of the penalty area for Voltemada, and he's just overrun it. It's gone out of play for a goal kick. No, corner has been given, which is Newcastle's fifth.
Not sure about that. Not sure about that. And I think he's changed his mind. I think he played for it, Voltemada. He threw it out to the corner. The official went with it. Estenoscos, he went with it. As we see this header coming in, I've just seen the header again. It's good delivery, Anthony Elanga into the box on an angle from the right-hand side. He's unmarked, Dan Burn. He's unmarked 6 yards out, and he's brilliant in the air. We've seen what he's like in the air. He'll be really disappointed with that.
Well, you've got to go back more than 30 years to the last time Newcastle won a European tie away from home by 5 goals or more. I know that they're not there yet. That was a game against Antwerp that you might remember, where they beat the Belgian side 10-2 on aggregate in the first round of the UEFA Cup.
Just have a look at this, Jim. The corner that was given was then given as a goal kick, and the resulting goal kick, he's kicked it out for a corner. Kaczowski has kicked it out for a corner.
And it's a corner that'll be taken by Tonali, a bizarre one, in keeping with not quite a bizarre first half, but utter dominance. In comes his latest corner, and the goalkeeper has done well, Kaczowski, to punch it away just before it crept in at the near post. Well, he put so much swerve on it that he almost has swerved it in past the goalkeeper at the near post, about 2 feet inside the near post. Kaczowski did well, get it away from Dan Burn. If he hadn't had a good night, it would be 7 or 8 or maybe more. Might yet be. Newcastle's XG is almost 4. Here's Tonali, swinging that corner in again, headed down from out of the hands of the goalkeeper and Voltemada. As he heads it back in, here's the whistle go. And the free kick is Qarabağ's just outside their own 6-yard box for a foul on the goalkeeper, who still continues to moan about the physical duress that he's under. Malik Chow just leant across him going for the ball. I don't think there was too much wrong with that.
Yeah, I think he's being kind, the official. It's actually landed on Malik Chow's head. He got a punch to the head from Kaczowski. No foul for me, and I think he's being kind to the goalkeeper there.
So Qarabağ 0, Newcastle United 4 here on Talksport 2. Javkiliev back from Medina. Medina into Zubir, and then the ball is chipped down towards Pedro Bicalio. Out to the substitute Danny Bolt. He's lost it. Harvey Barnes motors forward, but Bolt wins it back and then loses out, and Gordon goes down under a challenge from the goalkeeper, and it's another penalty. Gordon got there, nudged it to the right hand side of Kaczowski. Contact was inevitable, and Gordon goes down, wins another penalty, and Newcastle have a chance in the final minute of the first half to make it 5-0.
Qarabağ are in disarray, and there's a substitute, Danny Bolt, who wins it for his team and then gives it straight away to Anthony Gordon, who was always getting there first. And you have to say, you've got to feel for Kaczowski. He's played really well this half. He's conceded 4, maybe 5, and given away a penalty. This is an unbelievable half of football. It's clear as day, Jim, clear as day.
Yeah, caught him with the shoulder once the ball had been nudged past him. It was an easy decision for Estenoscos, the referee, to make.
Does he take it?
Oh, you bet he takes it. He's got the ball in his hand.
100%. Keep that ball, Anthony Gordon. Take this penalty. Don't give it to no one.
So which way is he going to go? The first penalty, as we looked at it, he went to the bottom left of the goal, to Kaczowski's right. is he going to go the same way? Is he just going to try and beat him for pace again, as he did last time? We're in 3 minutes of added time at the end of this first half. This 3 minutes will start with the kick from the spot here from Gordon. It's the same approach. Just adjusts his shirt again. Couple of big breaths, and then we'll stride forward to hit this right-footed. He does so now, begins his run, goes the other way and puts it in the top right-hand corner. And it's Qarabağ 0, Newcastle United 5 before half-time, and Gordon's got 4 of them.
What a lovely penalty. So difficult to be able to take a penalty when you've already taken one in the game. This time opted for the other way. Kachowski guessed the right way once again. It's too good, too good. Cool, calm, collected, lovely strike inside of his boot. Mid to high in terms of up near the top corner. Qarabağ 0, Newcastle 5. And I'm telling you now, Jim, at half-time, Anthony Gordon is saying to Eddie Howe, do not take me off.
And rightly so. 4 for him tonight. 14 goals for the season now. And 10 of those have come in 9 Champions League ties.
And what was the record before today? 7? Alan Shearer?
6. So he was tied with Shearer.
Wow.
Shearer as the Newcastle all-time leading goal scorer in the Champions League before tonight. He was on 6, Harvey Barnes on 5, Gordon now on 10. You listen to Qarabağ against Newcastle in the Champions League. It's live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it, book now at enterprise.co.uk. Well, the good news from a Qarabağ perspective, they didn't concede 9 seconds from the kickoff this time.
Do we know the record, Jim? Has there ever been a 5 or a 6 even in the Champions League?
Well, Newcastle have never scored 6 in a European
individual
tie. I don't know. Leave it with me. Here's Lewis Hall. Left-footed ball swept in deep towards the far post, has gone over Gordon and out towards the far touchline. That win against Antwerp, that 5-0 back in 1994, their biggest ever win in European competition. They've equalled that before half-time tonight. They've never scored 6 in a European game, Newcastle. I think they probably will tonight. I'm just going to stick my neck on the line. I mean, you do often get games where there is such ridiculous dominance in the first 45 minutes that the second half becomes a much more static and stagnant affair, and you often don't get any further scoring. I don't think that will happen tonight. It's Qarabağ 0, Newcastle 5. Ball worked through the midfield by Jankovic as Qarabağ look to try and get on the ball before half-time. Down he comes for Andrade on the Qarabağ right, ball through the 6-yard box. The stumbling Byrne was able to head it away. Tonali should be able to clear. Toe pokes it out of danger, finds Willock. Willock side-footing it out towards the right-hand side. Ilanga scoops it past the fullback, is trying to beat him for pace and has fouled him as he just tried to nudge it past. Jafar Kiliev just caught him, and it's a free kick in the left-back position for Qarabağ.
I'm just reading here, Jim. 3 players have scored 5 in a single Champions League match. Erling Haaland, Lionel Messi and Luis Adriano.
Well, he'd be in very good company, Anthony Gordon. If he scores another one in the second half here, he's already got 4, and Newcastle are already through to the round of 16. It's absolutely, utterly inconceivable that they can blow it from here. They've been majestic. They lead by 5 goals to 0. They really should be 8 or 9 up at half-time. And Anthony Gordon just being led away by Anthony Ilanga, whose arm is around his shoulder. I don't know whether there were just a few words going on between the opposing players as they left the field there. But Gordon delighted with what he has achieved. He has gone down in Newcastle United history with that first half performance. Incredible
performance individually from Anthony Gordon and as a team from Newcastle United. Before we started this game, we was umming and ahhing, wasn't we, whether it could be tricky or whether it should be easy or will be easy. It's not been easy, but they've made it easy. It's a difficult place to come. We've seen that. They've got a good home form, Qarabağ, but it's been an annihilation in this first half. An incredible performance. Eddie Howe, the Newcastle supporters must be so proud of that performance there, having travelled that distance with a depleted squad to put in that performance. And yes, it's 0-5 to Newcastle, we've spoken about it and we're amplifying it and we keep going on about it. It could be double figures in that first half. When we think of the chances that have been missed, Harvey Barnes, Andy Gordon missed 2, Dan Burn missed a free header. We could be walking off at half-time in double figures already.
I mean, the goalkeeper has made 6 saves. Newcastle have had 10 big chances in that game, statistically described as big chances. 18 attempts without reply, 13 of them on target, 10 of those 18 qualifying as big chances, 5 of them have been scored. Gordon on 3, Chow on 8, Gordon from the spot on 32, then almost directly from the kickoff on 34, and then another penalty in the first minute of stoppage time. A majestic Newcastle United performance that has already booked them a place against either Barcelona or Chelsea in the round of 16 in the Champions League. Stunning 45 minutes in Baku. This game brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. At half-time, Qarabağ 0, Newcastle United 5.
Champions League live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk.
mymotorworld.com.
Flat battery, blown bulb, wipers past their best. Don't worry, you can fit it yourself at home. With big brands and low prices, starting from just £1.99 for wipers, $4.99 for bulbs, and batteries from just $39.99. Those life journeys don't need to cost the earth. Don't wait for a flat start. Power up, brighten up, clear up with mymotorworld.com. Delivery from just £3.95.
mymotorworld.com.
It's the last chance to get yourself a ticket for tonight's Lotto draw.
It could be you.
Lotto from the National Lottery. Rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
Do you belong here? Next to me, about to jump into the sea on an army coast-steering expedition. What's your gut saying? Walk away from the edge? Or jump in and join a team that'll be by your side for life? Still listening? You belong here. Army, recruiting now. Search Army jobs.
The year is 1888. In France, Vincent van Gogh spots a pot of sunflowers and thinks, sacre bleu, they look nice. While in Bolton, England, Henry Warburton carries his new wife over the threshold. Consumed by passion, they undress, only to change into aprons to bake the next day's loaves. Talk about a one-track mind. Warburton's, toasting 150 years.
I remember holding her for the first time. Now, I'm about to walk her down the aisle.
Moments like these deserve to be seen clearly. With the Vision Express Eye Care Plan, get 2 pairs from £5.70 a month, including 20% off and an advanced eye test. Vision Express. Step out with confidence. T&Cs apply. Interest-free loan subject to status. VE is a credit broker, not a lender. Representing Adaro Optics Limited. Authorised by the Financial Conduct Authority. Minimum 24-month term.
Selling your car can be super simple if you choose We Buy Any Car instead of a confusing part exchange. Because with We Buy Any Car, you'll have cash in the bank for more bargaining power on your next car. If only they could make getting to that countryside wedding simpler.
Make a U-turn. Make a U-turn.
Oh, no. We Buy Any Car. Selling made simple. To get a quote in 30 seconds, enter your reg number now at webuyanycar.com.
Champions League live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
Live Saturday night Premier League football on Talksport. Manchester City take on Newcastle.
He has scored!
Coverage from 7:30. Kickoffs 8 p.m.
And he heads it towards goal, and it's in!
It's a stunning Saturday night of no filler, all thriller Premier League football on Talksport.
The UK's #1 football experience.
Kickoff live on Talksport 2.
The Premier League leaders, the title favourites and the best defence in Europe have been blocked by Brentford and their rookie boss.
They're trying to methodically plot their course to a first championship in more than 2 decades, and I think that could come back to haunt them.
Eze forward now towards Martinelli, breaks into the penalty area on the left-hand side, and he finishes superbly.
If you're a prospective champion, this is the life that you have to lead.
They're playing extremely well, Arsenal, and that's a cultural thing, saying this is what we do at this football club.
I don't think there's any doubt in any Arsenal fan's mind. Win the Premier League.
Been close 2 or 3 times now. This is the time. You've been given all the tools. Everything's in play. Look at the squad they've got.
João Gomez at the byline, gets to the cross and turned in. Santiago Bueno for Wolverhampton Wanderers.
We're in a difficult situation. If everyone just not turn up anymore now, we'd be getting badly criticised, and we're all fighting for something now, fighting for the football club.
You're listening to the Champions League live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they're here for it. And we'll have full second half commentary of Qarabağ Newcastle to come. But over on Talksport tonight, we'll bring you more live and exclusive Premier League action with an important game in the title race as the league leaders Arsenal travel to Wolves. Arsenal could move 7 points clear of Manchester City with a win. And manager Mikel Arteta is urging his side to relish the pressures of this title race.
The position that we are in is a privilege, and we take it because we have earned it. And for so long, for 7.5 months, is a long time to every single day do the right things and perform at the level that we are performing to where we are. So we need to embrace that. Tomorrow we know we're going to play a really difficult match. Our recent past with them showed how tough it was to actually win the 3 points. I know Rob really well and how he sets his team, so it's going to be a tough test.
And a reminder, you can hear live and exclusive commentary of Wolves against Arsenal on Talksport. All the build-up from 7 ahead of an 8 o'clock kick-off. Elsewhere tomorrow night here on Talksport 2, we'll bring you more European action, with Nottingham Forest travelling to Fenerbahce in the Europa League playoffs. It'll be their first game under new manager Vitor Pereira, and he's been telling Talksport's Jeff Peters why he took on the role.
The reason why I accept this job is because I believe in the quality of the players, because I believe in the potential of this club, the ambition of the president, and because I believe in the league. This is the best league, as I said before, and because I really believe in our work, and together we can increase our level.
The transfer window obviously is closed, so you've got to work with what you have. How different is that as a challenge as a manager when you go into a new football club?
I think we have a good squad. The squad is balanced in every position. I'm very happy with them.
You talked about when you first came to England about creating the tactical identity and that you love that side of the Premier League. Is there any specific tactics you think that these players need to get the club moving forward and to get the positive results?
I'm in a situation with the experience that I got from my career. I cannot change a lot in this moment of the season, but it's about to put the players comfortable playing in the roles that I'm demanding. Is important that the players feel that they can help the team with their qualities, because the qualities is important to express themselves, but to express themselves for a collective way of thinking. And this is my work with the team.
We often improve as people during tough moments or after tough moments. What have you learned about yourself, about football, about the English game during the difficulties that you experienced at Wolves earlier this season? What have you learned?
I learned that this is a league that we cannot make mistakes, because the mistakes they will punish us. The league punish the teams and the clubs that when we do mistakes. You understand? Because the high level of this league is important to have conditions to compete. This is because in a small detail you can lose, in a second you can lose, and in a second you can win.
Is there pressure to get results immediately? Do you feel that pressure? Is that something that you thrive on?
But this is the pressure that football is beautiful, because we are better under pressure, and I need the pressure to be in my best level.
And you can hear Vitor Pereira's first game in charge of Nottingham Forest tomorrow night. They take on Fenerbahce at 5:45. It's part of a double header here on Talksport 2. From 8 o'clock, it'll be followed by Celtic against Stuttgart. But back to the here and now, second half to come of Qarabağ against Newcastle. And this is what you've missed. Burns slipping in Gordon, 1-0. And it's taken 2 minutes for Newcastle to take the lead.
What a lovely finish into the far corner.
Trippier again, right-footed, plenty of air underneath, and headed down and in by Chow. And then 2 up after 8 minutes. 2,500 miles from home, but they're in dreamland.
What a header for Malik Chow.
It's only going to be a 3-pace run-up for Gordon, who just adjusts his shirt. In he comes, right-footed, past Kaczowski and in. 3 up, going on 7 with half an hour on the clock.
What a dream start for Newcastle.
And now it's a real mental test for Qarabağ, who've lost it again. And he's on a hat-trick, Anthony Gordon. And there it is.
Wow.
Anthony Gordon has a Champions League hat-trick for Newcastle, who have destroyed Qarabağ. Bolt wins it back and then loses out. And Gordon goes down under a challenge from the goalkeeper. And it's another penalty. He does so now, begins his run, goes the other way and puts it in the top right-hand corner. And it's Qarabağ 0, Newcastle United 5 before half-time, and Gordon's got 4 of them. Well, it's just a stunning first 45 minutes of football as far as Newcastle are concerned, and it will be very interesting to see how Eddie Howe rotates the pack for the second period. No end of records being broken. One notable statistic, Anthony Gordon, only the second player ever to score 4 goals in the first half of a Champions League tie. Luis Adriano did it for Shakhtar Donetsk against Bate Borisov back in 2014. And we mentioned in the first half only 3 players have ever scored 5 in a Champions League match. Haaland, Messi and Luis Adriano in that same game. And that is something that he will be hoping to emulate. Alan Shearer, last man to score 5 goals in a game for Newcastle back in 1999 in an 8-0 win against Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, any record that you care to look at in terms of Newcastle United winning in Europe, in terms of the wins that they've had, in terms of individual goal-scoring performances, they're all in jeopardy here, Darren Ambrose.
They certainly are, and they certainly should be. If they continue the first half performance into the second half performance, both sides, by the way, if Qarabağ continue as poorly as they've probably been, all records could be broken. I'm interested to see the line-up in the second half and whether Gordon can continue in the team as they come out. Can't quite see him, and there he is at the back. He'll be delighted with that. And that game you mentioned, Sheffield Wednesday, the 8-0, the 5th goal of Alan Shearer's was a penalty, and I can't remember the player's name who won it. A younger player went to take it, and Shearer was saying, "Don't be silly, son, this is mine."
Well, I was there that day.
Was you really?
I was indeed. They played in Europe. I think it was, and Newcastle fans, apologies if my failing memory has let me down here. I don't think it has. It was the first home game for Bobby Robson.
Wow.
After taking charge. And they'd been to Sofia the previous week on a Thursday night in the UEFA Cup and had beaten CSKA. And then went and stuck 8 past Sheffield Wednesday after a game in which the first 10 minutes they could have been 2 down. Another half-time change has been made by Qarabağ. Only the one, Leandro Andrade, off. And Husinov is coming on to replace him. It is the older of the Husinov brothers who is coming on. The 34-year-old centre-half, Davi Husinov, who's played nearly 400 games for the club. He will never have been on the wrong end of a scoreline like this. It's 5-0 to Newcastle. They're only the second side ever to lead a Champions League knockout stage game by 5 at half-time. Bayern Munich 5 up against Porto in a match back in April 2015 at the break. How hungry will Newcastle be for more? We'll find out together here on Talksport 2. Espen Eskos has given 2 penalties to the Geordies in the first half, gets us back underway, and Newcastle in their green shirts, white shorts and socks. They're kicking from left to right, and the hosts in all black and very much feeling blue. And they're on the back foot straight away. Long ball swept forward for Ilanga. He's curved it inside the penalty area. He almost got it through for Gordon, and they've been able to dig it clear. 20 seconds into the second half, Gordon almost had a sight of goal for his 5th and Newcastle's 6th.
Yep, another outstanding start. Joe Willock with a great ball down the wide right to Elanga, tried an early cross. Good defending in the end, because Husanov has just come on. Good defending. It's interesting to see, as the half-time whistle went, Anthony Gordon and Kieran Trippier was going at it a little bit, having a bit of an argument, and I seemed to lip-read the penalty. And it was Kieran Trippier that was going up to Anthony Gordon when the second penalty, his fourth goal, just before he took it. So whether there was something in that Trippier wanted to take it or someone else, but he didn't look happy, and I think Eddie Howe would have definitely tried to put a stop to that as early as possible at half-time.
Yeah, Joe Linton came onto the field. He's an unused sub tonight on his return, and just led Trippier away, but certainly a bit of chippiness in there. Here is Trippier in possession, and he's played it to his right-hand side for Anthony Gordon. You're just joining us, 5-0 Newcastle. Gordon's got 4 of them. He's got it again now. Clips around the corner for Elanga. Driven through the 6-yard box. They made a mess of getting it away, but Bicalio eventually could do so. Gets it towards the centre circle. Held up well. An opportunity now for Zubia to try and bring it forward in his blue boots through the centre circle. Goes out to the right-hand side for Montiel. They haven't been able to get Duran, their striker, into the game at all as yet, and they won't be able to find him now. The ball has gone over the line out by the corner flag for a Newcastle United throw. 5-0 to the Geordies with 47 on the clock.
And it started this second half exactly as the first half, as we see the well-timed challenge from Lewis Hall right down in the far corner. Exactly the same. Ante Elanga getting in behind Anthony Gordon, feeding him. Some crosses coming across the box. The only difference is they've not had a shot at goal yet.
Nick Pope catches a ball that wasn't intended for him. It was played through his penalty area by Hall. And Medina in strongly deals with the threat of Elanga, and then can turn the Colombian and bring the ball back into Newcastle United territory. But all the time they push forward. If they can get a little bit more possession in the first half, and it was about 50-50 in the first, but if they can get a little bit more possession in this second half, then that might actually play into Newcastle's hands on the counter-attack. Elanga's picked up a sore one. There's a running track around the side of the pitch, and he was barrelled into there by Medina, and he ended up wearing half of lane 1 on his left thigh, and is just having that patched up. Eddie Howe not happy, but the referee didn't even think it was a foul.
No, he's not happy at all, Eddie Howe, and rightly so. He was bundled off, ushered off. And it's so, we were speaking before, weren't we? I hate the running tracks around the pitch. I used to play in them in pre-season, and they do. When it's wet, they get slippery. And it looked a sore one for Elanga. He's back on, he's up and running, which is a good sign.
He was given a little shove, but what that did, that took him out towards the junction between the pitch and lane 1. And as he put his right foot down, his left foot down, just to try and steady himself on the grass, a couple of his studs went onto the running track, and he lost his footing and he fell and ended up going down thigh first on the track. He's okay. Play continues with 4 minutes into the second half. It's 5-0 Newcastle, who are on the back foot just for a moment as Jankovic plays it to the left back, Jaffa Kiliev. Back for Jankovic to Medina. Medina's inside the centre circle. He's got Husin to his right. He contrived to pass it straight to Elanga instead. Jankovic winning it back, getting there ahead of Gordon. Flick forward through the midfield, and they can try and get it forward quickly again with Zubia linking up the play, working wide for Montiel. Now the striker waiting in the middle, and they still can't find him with a right-footed delivery that was far too close to Nick Pope and away from Duran. Pope in his purple goalkeeping garb just catches the cross from Danny Bolt and then bowls it slowly out for Sandro Tonali. Qarabağ 0, Newcastle United 5. You're listening to our Champions League coverage live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they're here for it. Here's Tonali to the Newcastle skipper Trippier. 4 from Trippier to Willock to Tonali. Back for Tonali again from Willock, and then Gordon forced too wide by Elanga's hasty touch. The ball is over the line and out of play for a throw to Qarabağ. Played back by Zubia. Big Medina at the back wins it back, side foots it forward. Chow is first to it. He's the scorer of the second Newcastle goal tonight. Now bring it under control. Medina will be able to clear and slice it straight out of play for a throw that'll be taken on the Newcastle right. It is only Qarabağ's second appearance in the Champions League proper this season. They finished bottom of their group in the old format back in the 2017-18 campaign. I mentioned earlier that last year they really struggled in Europe and finished bottom of the whole lot in the Europa League, where they were 36 out of 36. So they've made significant progress year on year. They won away to Benfica. They've beaten Copenhagen. They've beaten Eintracht Frankfurt. They're not going to be taking anything tonight, except for a hiding. Newcastle worked the ball forward for Willock. And coming across the cover was Husinov. He just got caught. And the free kick has gone Qarabağ's way, just outside their own box. 5-0 to Newcastle. We played 6 minutes of the second half. And here's Darren Ambrose.
Yeah, they've been a little bit sloppy the last couple of minutes, Newcastle. Joe Willock there, just missed time in a challenge. There was an opportunity for a 1-2. Anthony Gordon and Anthony Elanga, who, the latter, Elanga got his pass all wrong when he should have fed him through. It had been in. So just a little bit sloppy, a little bit complacent, I guess. And I mean, when you're 5-0 up, you can afford that.
Are you surprised that Eddie didn't make any changes at half-time?
Yes and no. Yes, of course, because the depleted squad, Manchester City coming up, try to get your better players off. But no, because they haven't had to work particularly hard. So I think the legs are still going to be reasonably fresh. I think he'll probably give it to about an hour, 65 minutes, and start taking the big guns off.
Well, they got a free kick here, won by Voldemade. Tonali has taken it. He's played it back for Byrne. Now to Sandro Tonali again. And Newcastle concentrated inside Qarabağ territory. Gordon to Trippier. Comes in off the right-hand touchline and exchanges passes with Sandro Tonali. And then chips it over the top. It's volleyed away. Back down for Kieran Trippier again, who'll turn it back towards halfway. Now played forward towards Tonali. He's given the instruction to turn. Elanga coming forward towards the edge of the penalty area. A little give and go with Gordon, but it was an intricate backheel flick back into Anthony Elanga's path. Didn't find him, and then Zubir goes down just outside his box and wins a free kick.
Yeah, good effort. Tonali to Elanga, cuts inside, plays a 1-2. A little backheel from Anthony Gordon. But as you said, Medina read that really well to clear it. Don't think it was a foul on Zubir from Gordon. But the official was right there and gave the free kick.
Qarabağ have won 8 of their last 10 two-legged ties in Europe. But it will be the shock of all shocks in the Champions League if they win this one. They've got an opportunity here. Dan Byrne is forcing Jafakiliev wide. He's got a shot in towards the near post that Byrne has deflected, and he goes out of play for a corner.
And Eddie Howe's not happy at the moment, I think, because they're allowing them in. It's a good play, actually, down the left-hand side. Zubir ended up getting in from a good pass.
Corner worked short. Zubir to Montiel. Now Zubir taking it on again. And here's Jafakiliev inside the penalty area, and he scores. It's fired straight through Nick Pope, but the offside flag is up. And just when Newcastle have a defensive aberration and it looks as though their clean sheet is gone, the assistant referee comes to their rescue. Still 5-0.
They're obviously going to take a look at this. It looks extremely tight for me, the offside. It looks like Voldemade in the middle of the box could potentially be playing him on. We get a better view from here. Yeah, he is offside. He's just leant forward, isn't he? He's tighter than it initially looked. Kieran Trippier straight away, arm up, offside. Right call given in the end.
Yeah, Byrne was in there, and Lewis Hall as well on the edge of the 6-yard box as the ball was rolled through. I mean, it is very close. And Nick Pope's going to be hugely disappointed that got past him. Really disappointed indeed. So what's the decision going to be? The referee has been in consultation with Rob Dieperink, the VAR, for about 30-40 seconds or so. He's asked for the ball, which he cradles in his left hand. Kieran Trippier has come across. The Qarabağ captain, Husinov, is there as well. And it is going to be a goal. It stands. He was onside. And Qarabağ have one back. A consolation, Jafakiliev. And it's Qarabağ 1, Newcastle 5. And Nick Pope will be really disappointed. He's had nothing to do. And that just went straight through his left hand.
Yeah, it did. It did. He should have saved it. I'm actually shocked that it was given on the naked eye. it looked clearly offside. I'm looking at another view here. I think it might be Lewis Hall on the far side. It was tighter than we initially thought, but the naked eye, it looked offside. Maybe the angle that we're looking at. We're going to obviously see the pictures of the line being drawn, the semi-automatic. So I'll be interested to see how close that actually was. But yeah, as you said, Nick Pope, I think it was actually going wide from Jaffa Kiliev, and it hit Nick Pope's left arm and rebounded into his own goal. They're going to be extremely disappointed. That a clean sheet would have been perfect.
Well, I said it will be the comeback of all time. There's the first one that they need.
Wow.
Spoiler, it ain't going to happen. Dan Burn, 15 yards inside his own half. Works it out towards Lewis Hall on the Newcastle United left. They now lead 5-1 and with 5 up at half-time. Their lead has just been trimmed back. Chow getting it forward here for Kieran Trippier. Will that wake Newcastle up? Because the start of this second half, they haven't been as good as they were in the first 45 minutes by any stretch of the imagination. Ilanga trying to get it through towards Voltemada. Now Chow to Trippier. Tonali has it. Tonali turns with his foot on the ball and then lays it back behind square for Dan Burn. Now he goes out to Lewis Hall again. Hall offering himself in support for Harvey Barnes' pass, and then having received it is fouled. A reminder of who's on the Newcastle bench: 3 keepers, and then they got Joelinton, Asula, Jacob Murphy and Alex Murphy, Jacob Ramsey and youngster Sean Neve, who's an 18-year-old striker who's been on the bench in the Premier League more than a handful of times this season, and Leo Shahar, the England under-19 international right back, who has also yet to make his full first team debut. So they're 2 players that Eddie Howe might decide that the time is right to blood in European football as the night goes on. No changes made as yet. Chow fires one over the top of the retreating right back Danny Bolt, finds Harvey Barnes. Barnes coming in off the left hand side, big influence early in the game, less so as it's gone on. Tonali fires it in towards the far post. Husanov coming back has headed it away, hooked back over his own shoulder by Ilanga, comes down for Barnes, whose shot is blocked, hit Danny Bolt and then he's headed away. Touch on the edge of the box was missed by Zubier, and Trippier gets it back for Newcastle. Goes back for Chow. He in turn plays immediately forward for Tonali. And then Trippier gives it back to him. The Italian turned around the corner for Joe Willock. Willock down towards Trippier again. Trippier in field for Ilanga. To Trippier. And back for Tonali. Newcastle probably with 10-15 passes in this move. Willock almost got it round the corner for Gordon's run. Back it comes for Tonali again. Tonali deeper for Byrne. Byrne behind square for the run of Malik Chow into the feet of Anthony Ilanga. There's one back by Jankovic. And then Jaffa Kiliev, the Qarabağ goal scorer, has done well. And he's found Montiel. Montiel wearing 9 but playing in central midfield role, getting it wide for Danny Bolt. Bolt back to halfway. Qarabağ bringing it forward without any real conviction, but they are slowly making headway into Newcastle territory as they look to make further inroads into this 5-1 deficit.
Yeah, and what they've done is they've changed shape. They've finally got to grips with the pace up front was causing them all sorts of problems. And they've gone 3 at the back. Husanov's came on and he's playing next to Medina and Silva, which is quite difficult to break down. So they need to find another way of breaking them, maybe going wide a little bit, putting some crosses into the box, Newcastle, because it'll be a difficult shape to break down.
Now clearance from Lewis Hall, picked up on the edge of the penalty area. Another shot comes in, and Pope's handling wasn't great on that either. He got both hands in front of his face and beat the shot down. Then it just ran away from him for a moment, but he was able to gather at the second attempt and get Newcastle back on the front foot with Joe Willock. We've played an hour here on Talksport 2. Qarabağ 1, Newcastle United 5. Anthony Gordon scoring 4 in the first half. And the second player ever to do that before half-time in a Champions League game. Reverse ball down the inside, left channel for Lewis Hall. And it's cleared by Silva, who started the night at right back, but has been playing at centre-half for much of it, and now on the right of 3 centre-halves. They started the game in a 4-2-3-1 formation, but as Darren Ambrose was just saying, they've changed to a back 3 the change they made at half-time. Hall with the ball up his shirt for a moment just to dry it. And now has it in the palms of his hands, throws it in towards the near post, looking for a flick on from Byrne. Ball is cleared by Bicalio. High skied clearance. Tonali waiting for it to come down, and as he was waiting, he was given a right shove by Montiel, and he's got a free kick.
Yeah, it's clever play from Tonali. All he could have done was just head that one, and it wouldn't have gone anywhere. You see Montiel come in, leant into him, got a nudge, went down.
Now we're just seeing the still now of the offside call. It was the right boot of Lewis Hall that played Jaffa-Kiliev onside for the goal. Not much in it,
no,
but maybe 3-4 inches, something like that.
It surprised me on initial viewing. Probably the angle we've got, as I said, it looked that he was leaning offside, maybe a few inches offside. He was a few inches on.
Newcastle coming forward, leading 5-1. Ball in from Tonali and headed just over the bar as the goalkeeper came out. It was Anthony Gordon that came to meet it, along with Nick Voltemada. I think it was the German that got the touch, as the ball was just bent inside the penalty area. Voltemada there ahead of Medina and the goalkeeper, but he couldn't direct his header under the bar. It's gone on the roof of the net and had to play for a goal kick.
Yeah, good delivery from Tonali, and Kachowski came out. Probably shouldn't have come out. Medina just done enough, just nudged him a little bit in the back, Voltemada, which put him more under the ball than he would have wanted to, and it just probably a foot over the top.
Well, in the first half it was 18 shots for Newcastle United. The second half, which is 17 minutes old, they've only had 2, neither on target. Qarabağ have had a couple of attempts in the second half, both on target, but in fairness, the job was done before half-time. Here's Kieran Trippier coming forward again for Newcastle. Feigns to cross the ball inside the penalty area, then pulled it back instead. But Newcastle have just developed a slight ragged edge in the attacking third at the moment. Passes going astray. They're not playing with the same fluency now that they were before half-time.
Yeah, a bit of sloppiness going on, as we said, and that happens when you're so far ahead. But they've just conceded, obviously. Now it's 5-1. They'll be looking to maybe add 1 or 2 more, but on this showing at the moment, 64 minutes in, doesn't look like they're going to get anywhere near it, which is crazy to say after that first half.
I remember Newcastle have never scored 6 in a European tie. They've never won a European tie by 6 clear goals. Therefore, they can still do both of those tonight. They have had a 5-goal victory in the past, a couple of them.
I think I played in one of those, I believe. NAC Breda, I think it was 5-0. May have been 5-1. Might be wrong, but I'm sure it was 5-0 because I scored the 5th.
Oh, you got
had to get that out there.
Got the important one. Here's Jaffa-Kiliev. And Qarabağ forced back towards halfway by good pressing from Joe Willock. Not too far away from the point you'd think Eddie Howe would be wanting to make changes. We're just shy of the 20-minute mark in this second half. Remember, Newcastle back in action away to Manchester City Saturday night. It is live and exclusive on Talksport, kicking off at 8 o'clock. Prepared to bet that it might be a slightly tougher encounter than this one has been.
You'd expect so. If you're Arsenal, you'd hope it wouldn't be. You'd hope it would be the same, but it certainly won't.
Talking of Arsenal, they're back in action themselves tonight in a game that kicks off at 8 o'clock over on Talksport this evening. They're at Wolves. You won't hear that anywhere else either. Shot from distance, takes a deflection, and Nick Pope diving to his right. Was grateful to see it go just past his post. It's out for a corner, but Qarabağ again creating something around the edge of the penalty area. The winning second ball now that they weren't before. They've got a corner, they've taken it quickly. Montiel pulling it back. Here's Jankovic. Home crowd getting behind their side after that torrid opening 45 minutes. Jankovic back for Montiel, out by the left-hand touchline. Tonali just trying to edge him back inside. Husinov snaps over it. And then try to get on the edge of the penalty area. They have Pedro Bicalio in space. Couldn't find him. Retreating Medina. There's been a collision between 2 players. Ilanga is okay. It's actually the defender Silva and Willock. And a collision between the pair of them. and that is going to necessitate a break in the play. And he just leant in, shoulder into the side of Willock's face, did Silva. It was just a wee bit naughty, blind side of the referee.
Yeah, I think it might have been, in terms of Silva, I think it was Medina. As he jumped over, he's kneed him in his head. So we have a look in this replay. He falls down. He gets a knee right in the head from his teammate, Silva. Willock will be fine. It looks really painful one. But I tell you what, if Qarabağ would have started the match the way they've started this second half, I don't think it'd have been 5-0 at half-time, that's for sure. There's been a real change of intensity. Maybe the shape that they changed, they've gone for 5 at the back now. There's been a real difference in this second half, and Newcastle are finding it quite difficult to break them down.
You're listening to Qarabağ against Newcastle in the Champions League. It's live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it, book now at enterprise.co.uk. And don't forget as well, for more Newcastle chat, we've got Inside the Toon, new episodes out every week on the Talksport Newcastle YouTube channel. If you haven't seen that, with Newcastle fan Ollie Klink, highly recommend it. Well, no point taking any risks with Willock. I think this was probably a premeditated change anyway. He's coming off. Jacob Ramsey is coming on to replace him. And we're going to see Jacob Murphy come on for Ilanga on the flank. Anthony Gordon's going to have to declare at 4 because he's coming off, and Willa Sula will replace him. So not able to become the first Newcastle player to score 5 in a game for the club in the 21st century. Murphy, Ramsey and Asula coming on, and Willock, Ilanga and Gordon, the 3 players coming off. Gordon just being put back in cotton wool again for the game on Saturday night away to Manchester City, live on Talksport.
Yeah, it's the right decision. It is. As a supporter of football, you want to see people breaking records, but he's done his job already. Anthony Gordon, although it'd have been a poor decision from the viewers, I'm surprised we'd see him come out to the second half with the big games coming up.
So Will Asula has come on. The Danish striker who led the line against Villa in the cup tie on Saturday night. He's only started 3 games for Newcastle this season. He's made 18 appearances off the bench. He's got 3 goals, a couple of them against Bradford in the League Cup. So he's on. He's playing up front. And Jacob Murphy on the right-hand side. And Jacob Ramsey in Willock's midfield role. So 3 straight like-for-like swaps for Newcastle. Change has been made midway through the second half. And Newcastle have lost possession again, near the edge of their own penalty area with Sandro Tonali. Out he goes to the right-hand side for Danny Bolt. Now inside the penalty area, right-footed shot deflected away and headed behind by Dan Burn for a corner. And that'll be taken on the Qarabağ right-hand side. Danny Bolt has been lively. Now Medina has gone down. He's holding his left knee this time. It has been quite stop-start the last 10 minutes or so. It was well defended by Burn. With another Qarabağ corner, they're 6th of the night.
It's like a different game. It's like a different team, this Qarabağ team in the second half. Whether the intensity of Newcastle has dropped a little bit and the intensity has risen from Qarabağ. Medina looks to be a little bit sore. I think he'll be okay. Yeah, they're making a few mistakes, Newcastle. Tonali losing it on the edge of his penalty area. Duran winning it back, and then Dan Burn having to head clear for a corner.
A corner that'll be taken with just a little over 20 minutes to go. 5-1 the score. And most of the corners have gone short. This one does as well. Finds Zubir. Zubir taking on inside the penalty area, getting it back from Husinov, firing in a cross that's headed clear by Malik Chow. Starting a 37th successive game in League and Cup tonight. Played back forward down to the left wing. Trippier bustles with Zubir, the battle of the 2 starting captains, and it's gone out of play for a throw that'll be taken on the Newcastle United right. 5-1 with 4 to Anthony Gordon in the first half. 2 from the penalty spot, one of which was very harsh, with the defender giving away a penalty for handball as he was putting his left hand down towards the ground to break his fall. The ball hit his hand. Penalty was given, wouldn't be in the Premier League, but was in this. 20 minutes to go. And the Geordies have it with Lewis Hall. Play back for Dan Burn. Still possession 50-50. It's been the way most of the evening. It has just flitted either side of that 50-50 line. It's very marginally in Newcastle's favour at the moment. But the statistics, the difference between the attempt statistics first half to second half is alarming for Eddie Howe. And of course the job is already done. But nevertheless, he will be hugely disappointed that 13 attempts on target in the first half have been followed by none in the second so far.
Yeah, that's not a great stat actually, in terms of it's not a good look for Newcastle. I always wonder, like, what would a manager say if it was one of my teams, if I was the manager going at 5-0 after? It's such a difficult half-time scoreline, because you don't want them to rest on the laurels, but you also don't want to make them overexert themselves because they've already done the job. So maybe he just left them to their own causes, and they have done the job. You said it's going to take a miracle for Qarabağ to get anywhere near this tie, which they won't.
Barnes sending a lofted ball out towards Jacob Murphy, who darts infield away from Jaffa Giliev, gets a shot in that's deflected. There's number 6. First shot on target of the second half, and Newcastle score from it. And it's Jacob Murphy, lifelong Newcastle United supporter. What a special moment for him. Bringing the ball onto his left foot, firing it towards goal. And the deflection was significant as it came off Kusanov. But Newcastle United's 5-goal advantage is restored. The first time they've ever scored 6 in a European tie.
Yeah, brilliant. As you said, first shot on target. Kieran Trippier's run, overlapping Jacob Murphy, just allowed him space to come in, to cut inside. You'd have to say his left foot shot was probably going to be comfortably saved by the goalkeeper Kachowski, but the deflection of Husanov came on. The substitute just took it over the top of him, and it nestled into the roof of the net.
5-goal advantage restored. It was heading for the top left-hand corner, but the deflection spun it straight down the middle, and the goalkeeper's momentum had taken him past the ball. And Jacob Murphy, with a big beaming grin on his face, as well he might have, wheels away in celebration, absolutely made up with the fact that he's been able to add his name to the Roll of Honour tonight. His first ever Champions League goal for the club that he supported all his life. Great moment. Here they come again, the men in black. Dan Burn having a block with 3 around him inside his 6-yard box for a moment. Newcastle have been able to get it away. They lead 6-1, 17 minutes to go.
Is that the comeback off now, Jim?
But yeah, on balance, probably. Nick Pope's got the ball at his feet inside the penalty area. You know what it's like for goalkeepers. They're such an idiosyncratic breed that he'll be delighted with the result, of course. He will be furious with himself for the one that he's let in.
He'll be furious with himself. I think the defenders will be furious with themselves as well. As I said in the first half, the couple of things you wanted was, and Eddie Howe would have wanted Elanga to play well, which he did, and he has in today's match, and a clean sheet, which they didn't get. And with the shot probably going wide, the cross shot just hit his left arm and went in, and he'll be extremely disappointed with that, Nick Pope.
Yeah, it hasn't gone down as an own goal for now, but I agree with you. As Murphy's ball is played through the penalty area and comfortably dealt with by the advancing Kachowski, who's shipped 6 tonight, as he did in the last game that he played against English opposition. 6-0 defeat at Liverpool. But remember, it's a Qarabağ side that won 3 games in the group stage. They held Chelsea, but Newcastle have absolutely blown them away in the 45 minutes. Joelinton's going to come on just to get a few minutes into his legs after being missing for the thick end of a month. Qarabağ bring it forward again towards the edge of the penalty area, but the substitute, Danny Bolt, who's playing at right wing back now, quickly lost possession. Newcastle calmed things down with Ramsey. Ramsey, who has scored a Champions League goal when he came on his debut in the competition for his boyhood heroes, Aston Villa. A match against Young Boys Bern. He's not scored one since. Chow fought for Tonali. 15 minutes to go here on Talksport 2. And a reminder that Arsenal go to Wolves in our live game over on Talksport, which kicks off at 8 o'clock as they're trying to get a 7-point advantage at the top of the table. Kieran Trippier now. Ball comes to a complete standstill. He waves Tonali towards him. Taps it into the feet of the Italian and gets it straight back. Then he goes to Chow. Into Byrne. Ramsey trying to turn, has lost it. They're played forward in towards Medina, and Chow just had his arm around him. That's a daft yellow card to give away in the context of such a commanding lead. And he just put his arm around the chin of the returning striker Duran and brought him to the ground.
Yeah, it was a lovely touch from Duran, actually, as Chow come running in. He's just outside of the right, inside of the left, two little quick touches. Yeah, and it was a cynical foul, really, because he wasn't nowhere near the goal. He wasn't going to get anywhere. He was heading towards Kieran Trippier, and he's grabbed him with his right arm by the side of the face, and a deserved yellow card.
8th yellow card of the season in all competitions for Malik Chow. And now Newcastle make the change, and Trippier comes off, and Joelinton is going to come on to replace him. So will Newcastle go to a back three? Will they put Murphy in at right back? How are they going to shuffle things around? It looks as though it's going to be the latter. Murphy's going to play at right back. Joelinton has gone out to the far touchline as we look at it, which is the Newcastle left. Bicalio has just been able to play round him. Joelinton's in there to win it back. Voltemada back, trying to poke the ball away. So too Tonali, who's having a couple of little nibbles at Bicalio. He got him with the second one and has given a free kick away. 6-1 Newcastle.
And you know what? What's that? 4 substitutions now for Newcastle. If I'm Leo Shahar or Sean Neve, I'm warming up in front of Eddie Howe playing, please, just give me some minutes.
I'm having a game of rock, paper, scissors
exactly.
for which of the two of us gets the opportunity to come on for their Newcastle debut tonight. I suppose the way that the game is going, it's probably more likely to be Neve. If it was going to be Shahar, they might have done it then.
Yeah, that's true.
Rather than have Murphy drop back in at right back.
It'd be nice to see one of those players on the pitch making their debut.
There's a free kick here to Qarabağ. Left-footed ball swung inside the penalty area. Trying to get round the back of Tonali was the centre-half Medina. And Tonali just stood his ground. Good defending. It's out of play for a goal kick. Live double bill of action for you from Europe tomorrow night. Here on Talksport 2. Fenerbahce against Forest. First game of Vitor Pereira in charge. It's a 5:45 kickoff. It's followed by Celtic at home to Stuttgart. So Fenerbahce Forest, Celtic Stuttgart. Double bill for you tomorrow on Talksport 2. Friday night here on 2. Big Lancashire derby from Ewood Park. Blackburn improving, particularly now that Michael O'Neill has taken charge. They're at home to Preston. That game kicks off at 8. Blackburn against Preston. The Lancashire derby on Friday night here on Talksport 2. Tonali. Sounds a little bit too much of Murphy coming forward from right back. That's gone out of play. A Saturday, more EFL action on Talksport 2. West Brom, Coventry and Midlands derby. Coventry back on top after beating Middlesbrough the other night. Then Wrexham, Ipswich. A repeat of the FA Cup tie from last weekend. They meet in North Wales at 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. And Manchester City against Newcastle, as you know, has been put back to 8 o'clock. That game coming your way live and exclusive on TalkSport. Then the Sheffield derby on Sunday, Everton Manchester United on Monday. Live football just keeps on coming on the TalkSport network for you. 10 minutes to go this one, which has been all over by the shouting since I don't know, about the 8th minute, something like that. But Newcastle 6-1 up, have been coasting, maybe taking their eye off the ball just a little bit in the second half as a result of that humongous lead that they built up before the break. Voltemada's been fouled here. A free kick about 10 yards inside the Qarabağ half.
I think the one thing, if you're Voltemada, if you're Harvey Barnes, Jacob Ramsey, who's just entered the field, you'd be thinking there's a goal in this for me. Particularly Voltemada as well. Been that number 10 role, hasn't he? Osula coming on, playing the 9 instead of Anthony Gordon. Just to build up a little bit of confidence in front of goal. And I think there's still going to be chances. We just ticked over to the 81st minute. There's going to be more chances in this game.
Ramsey taking the ball on the turn and then sending a beautiful pass forward. And here's a chance for Harvey Barnes. Tries to cut inside Medina. Can't do so the first time of asking, but he's still got the ball at his feet. And then as he poked it square, it was intercepted. and they're able to bring it away. But it was a beautiful pass to find him.
Yeah, really, really good pass. Jacob Ramsey knew exactly where he was. Good defending, Medina. Got back really well, actually. There was an opportunity for him to slide it across the box to Voltemada. Decided against that. And Medina that was there. Too strong for Harvey Barnes that time.
10 minutes to go. 6-1 Newcastle. First time they've ever scored half a dozen in a European game. Sandro Tonali. Back for Chow. Down to the Newcastle right-hand side for Murphy. Chow's got it again. And he goes back for Byrne, who side-foots it forward through the centre circle. Down towards Ramsey. Ramsey for Chow, the scorer of Newcastle's second goal. Gordon got the other 4 in the first half. And then Jacob Murphy's deflected effort was the 6th about 10 minutes ago. Here come Qarabağ again, working it down their left, running at Murphy. Zubia taking on the makeshift full-back, who stopped him getting a cross in. He's pulled it back, and I think it was Jankovic coming onto that on the edge of the penalty area, has skied his effort. He's nearly cleared the running track with it, let alone the goal. And it's out for a goal kick. There's a little bit more action on the Qarabağ bench. We're going to see the Ghanaian forward, Emmanuel Adai. And he might not be the only one coming on. 8 minutes to go for Newcastle. You could still call upon Alex Murphy, Shahar and Neve, the 3 youngsters in the travelling party of the outfield players today. Byrne, side-footing it forward for Tonali. 8 minutes to go. Nick Pope. Back out towards Byrne again. Voltemada dropping deep. And then it's played down the left-hand side, chested down for Asula, who'd dropped that little bit deeper. I think an Asula goal would really be the icing on Eddie Howe's cake tonight. It's not going to come from here, as he can't get past Medina. And Jeff Akiliev, the goal scorer for Qarabağ, will lay it back through the midfield and find Zubir. Zubir's crossfield ball. Out it goes now from Danny Bolt. Out towards the right-hand side. Montiel has drifted out of that right-hand touchline, fires in across. Chow comes across to cover it. Chested down then by Ramsey. Hall with a big, long clearance, boom forward towards halfway. And on the end of that, Bicalio is able just to flick it with the top of his foot out towards safety in the right-hand side, and they'll build again.
Yeah, I think they'll be looking to get this game over with now. Newcastle, if an opportunity arises, hopefully take it, but the game's over, the tie's over. Get away from Azerbaijan with injury-free. Get home, prepare for the weekend's fixture, Manchester City. I will say Medina's been a different player in the second half. It was a bit comical defending in the first half from him. Created a couple of goals, a couple of opportunities from his missed time touches. But he's played really well this second half. Maybe it's because he's got 2 of those players next to him, Husanov and Silva.
Hall with silky feet, just able to bring the ball forward. Oh, he's beaten 6 down the left-hand touchline. They all came towards him, and he nudged it past the first couple, then came back inside, flicked it on again down the touchline, rode another challenge, beaten another couple of players. Brilliant play by Lewis Hall. He's some player.
Yeah, he is some player. He's brilliant. For me, when he's on form, he continues this form. He's on the plane to the World Cup for sure. That's in my opinion. Whether Thomas Tuchel agrees remains to be seen.
So Qarabağ will make a double change. Montiel and Zubir, the players that are coming off. We're going to see Caddy come on, who's a Brazilian attacking midfielder, got sent off in the league game at the weekend. And Emmanuel Adai comes on as well. The 2 forward-minded players have only scored 6 goals between them in 50-odd appearances in League and Cup this season. Dan Byrne, down towards Hall. Qarabağ 1, Newcastle United 6. Long clearance from Byrne. Which bounces 15 yards outside his own penalty area. Jacob Murphy has it. Murphy playing it back for Chow. Chow rolling it through the penalty area for Byrne. Byrne side-footing it down the inside left channel for Joelinton. He can't get it to stick, and it will come back with the men in black again. Work through the midfield. Remember, the second leg next Tuesday night on Talksport. And we'll keep you abreast of all the developments from St James's. Ball over on the far touchline, which is the Qarabağ right. Play forward towards Bicalio. Bicalio into Tonali. Out of play for a corner. I think they wanted a penalty. They say that that's ricocheted up and hit Tonali's hand. VAR has had a look at it and immediately waved it away, I think. It did. It hit his right foot, then his left heel came up and hit his hand. And bearing in mind the penalty they conceded for handball in the first half, can't blame Qarabağ for shouting for anything, but that was unlikely to be given. In comes this corner, and it's headed down towards the far post, but cleared away by Nick Voltemade. Coming forward again, Jankovic cut across it, sends it wide.
Oh, it's good effort, Jankovic. I mean, it looked a great effort from our angle. To be honest, at first I thought it was nestling into the top corner, but I think that was easily covered from Nick Pope as we see it again. Yeah, it was a few yards wide, but yeah, you can't blame him for having a shout. I think it's as much as a penalty as the one that was given for Newcastle, meaning it should never have been given as a penalty.
No, that clearly the right decision. And it remains 6-1.
There'll be a few Geordies having a good evening tonight on the way home, travelling home.
I think that probably happens win, lose or draw.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Newcastle will make their final change. Barnes is off, and here's Sean Neve, who's been on the Premier League bench 6 times this season and makes his Newcastle United senior debut for the final 3 minutes. May never play another game as far away from St James's Park as this one.
Excellent. Love to see it. 18 years old. Will he be dreaming of a chance, by the way?
Well, Asula has gone out to the right-hand side, and Neve is playing through the middle. So that's how they've shuffled things around to accommodate the arrival of the 18-year-old who's wearing 62. Such a special moment. Can't help but feel immense pride for, you know, the whole family. And you just think of all those training sessions from probably when he was 4 or 5, no more than that. He's worked his way up, the hard yards for him and for his family as well. And it comes to fruition as he makes his senior debut for Newcastle United.
Yeah, love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. As you said, the hard yards you put in as a young player, not just a young player, young family, parents, travelling all around the country. And here he is. And I'm hoping his family's there. I mean, it's a long way to go. I'm hoping there's someone there, his parents, whoever it may be.
Newcastle have a free kick. It's in from Murphy into a great area. Good save. And it's not bundled home by Asula when he looked odds on to just turn it over the line. The initial header came down. The goalkeeper did well. Beat that away. Came for Asula, who's off balance at the far post, leaning back, and somehow couldn't quite walk it in. He'll be mystified. I think it's a double save from the keeper.
He will be mystified. And you know who else will be mystified? Dan Burn again. It was a lovely delivery, Jacob Murphy, from the wide right. Beautiful cross. They're all onside. Dan Burn gets a free header again, and it's a lovely save. Kachowski, once again, who's had a really good game, albeit conceded 6. But the rebound from Asula, I mean, he has to score that. He has to score that. It's a lovely double save. But I think Dan Burn firstly has to score it, and then Asula has to score the rebound and doesn't.
Well, seeing a replay...
Oh, it's a great save.
The goalkeeper's first save was good. The second one was brilliant. And what he managed to do was flick his fingers down as he stretched out to his left-hand side.
Yep.
As the ball bounced, then became a leg break for Asula, and it just darted away.
Yeah,
and that's why he couldn't follow up and put it in, because the bounce was so erratic after the spin that had been imparted on the ball by the goalkeeper and making the second save. It's a magnificent piece of goalkeeping by Kachowski. As you say, you know, if you've had a good night and you've still let in 6, that things have gone wrong ahead of you somewhere. That has been the state of play tonight. We've only got 10 seconds or so left in the 90 minutes. Final change made by Qarabağ. Incidentally, they've taken Duran off, and Gurbanli has come on to replace him up front. Hussein off, given a shove. Ball's gone out of play. It was well played by Neve against someone much more experienced. 3 minutes of added time. Newcastle with an opportunity, having scored 6 for the first time in Europe tonight, to yet score a 7th. There was a great ball in from Neve as well, who will have expected that he might have got an assist. That was after the initial double save. Neve then stood it up towards the far post, and he got headed wide. Ball's out for a throw. Newcastle will take it with Murphy. He's dropped it back towards Voldemada. To Murphy again. And now to Malik Chow. Here's Murphy once more. Into the feet of Tonali. Newcastle scored 2 minutes from the start of the game. Will they be able to get one 2 minutes in the end as well? Not from this attack. Jankovic finding his captain Husanov, who blasts the ball out to the right-hand touchline. Alex Bolt, who's struggled since coming on. Danny Bolt, I beg your pardon, has just been able to work it up the right-hand touchline, but he's lost possession. And that's been an area that Newcastle really have made hay. Jacob Murphy fall into the feet of Asula. Back from him to Chow. 90 seconds to go. Chow with a long ball over the top. Joe Linton chests it down. It's given a shove. Good strong defending by Silva. Joe Linton claiming a penalty. But it's going to be a goal kick. He was offside anyway. 6-1 Newcastle with about a minute or so to go.
Yeah, no penalty. And as you said, offside as well. But there's a moment where the ball was lofted up, I think, and he could actually head that across the goal. And there was Sean Neve unmarked in the box, but he tried to chest it down. The official flag up already.
So here's Tonali. Tonali playing the ball out towards Hall. Now down for Dan Burn. Malik Chow can bring the ball forward. In the final minute of the 3 added. Jacob Murphy. Good ball from him. Asula. Neve. Here's his chance. It's rolled between his legs. And it'll be cleared up the right-hand side of the penalty area by Silva. Good delivery from Asula. It just fell behind Sean Neve's stride. And he couldn't adjust his feet quickly enough.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it took a slight deflection. May have hurt. Husanov was in front of him. May have just hit his back heel and just went behind Sean Neve. Otherwise, he was there to tap it in. Asula trying to feed his teammate. I think it was good defending. Now, we haven't seen a replay yet. I think it hit Husanov's leg.
Tonali. Final touch of the night for Nick Pope. Played out towards Dan Burn. Burn's ball forward up the left for Hall. Hall back for Burn again. Who has he lost it? No, he hasn't. Voldemada. He will play through his own penalty area. He's in the 6-yard box there, Voldemada. Gets it forward for Murphy, and that's the last touch of the night. What a win for Newcastle United. A 6-1 victory on the road, equaling their biggest ever European win. The first time they've ever scored half a dozen goals in continental football. And Anthony Gordon scoring 4 of them in the first half, 2 from the spot. Only the second player ever in Champions League history to score 4 goals before half-time in a game. A magnificent win for Newcastle, breaking records, and more importantly, as far as they're concerned, already booking a place in the last 16 of the Champions League. There is no way back for Qarabağ after that first half annihilation.
No way back whatsoever. And we spoke about Trippier and Anthony Gordon, and the little argument at half-time. They're all smiles now, walking onto the pitch, hugging each other. Job done. 5-0 at half-time. You can't ask for a better half of football, albeit it could have been 9 or 10 in the first half. Second half, a little bit different. 1-1. I think if you're Qarabağ, you're taking that as a positive, but this tie is over. Next week they can come, they get back to St James's Park and probably make some changes, relax, and now they're just looking forward to the weekend of Manchester City.
Well, it was the night that Newcastle got off to the best possible start. A goal up inside barely 2 minutes, 2 up inside 8. They never looked back, and their 5-0 advantage at half-time flattered Qarabağ, if you can believe that. Newcastle really probably should have been 8 goals to the good at the break. Such was their dominance and the quality of the chances they missed. It was Anthony Gordon that got them underway, scoring barely 5 seconds into the 3rd minute. Malik Chow's powerful header from the far post made it 2. Newcastle then missed a stack of chances. Gordon 2 1-on-1s against the excellent Polish goalkeeper Kaczowski in goal for the Azerbaijani champions. but the third goal did come with an element of luck about it. Penalty given for a handball against Silva, who put his left hand down to break his fall. The ball hit his hand about 4 inches off the ground. Penalty was given and dispatched by Anthony Gordon. Seconds from the restart, it was 4-0 as Nick Voltemade turned over possession and Gordon ran through one-on-one and scored, and another penalty after he himself was fouled by the goalkeeper made it 5 at half-time. Newcastle 5 goals to the good, only the second team ever to be 5 up at half-time in a Champions League knockout tie. Gordon only the second player ever to score 4 goals in the first half of a Champions League tie, equalling a record that was set 11 years ago by Luis Adriano. They were slow out of the traps in the second half without a shadow of a doubt. Weren't able to emulate the fluency that they showed in the first 45 minutes. Jaffa Kiliev pulled one back for Qarabağ with a shot that Nick Pope will be very disappointed that he couldn't keep out. It seemed just to go past his left hand, almost as if he tried to deliberately leave it, and the ball brushed off his hand and went in. Jaffa Kiliev survived an offside call just played on by Lewis Hall. The 5-1 soon became 6-1 when Jacob Murphy came off the bench and scored his first goal for his boyhood heroes in the Champions League. And Sean Neave, who had been thrown on for his debut late on, nearly made it 7 after a Willis Sula ball just didn't quite find him inside the 6-yard box right at the end of the game. Darren Ambrose watching the game with me. Darren, what did you make of it? Let's start by focusing on the 45 minutes of utter dominance for Newcastle. And it sounds as though we're exaggerating when we say that they should have been 8 or 9 up at half-time, but that literally was the situation.
Yeah, it certainly was. I thought they were excellent. I thought the start, they played a high press, the intensity. It was a real professional opening to this match. And they rightly took the lead, I think 2-0 within 8 minutes. We've seen Anthony Gordon have 2 glorious one-on-ones that the keeper Kachalski was equal to and saved. We see Harvey Barnes as well have an opportunity. Keeper saved. Dan Burn had an opportunity in the first half, which he should have done better with. A yard either side, and that would have been a goal. And that would have made it 9. So I think we're right in saying it could have easily been 9. It should have easily been 9 in the first half. It wasn't. It was 5. You can't really ask for more than that. I think Eddie Howe would have been delighted with that performance. You know what? He'd probably be a little bit disappointed in the second half, albeit the game was already over. Your intensity levels do drop a little bit, a few changes as well. But all in all, a magnificent result for Newcastle.
Why were they so impressive? Was it how much of it was down to Newcastle being good, how much of it was down to Qarabağ being bad in that opening 45 minutes? I mean, there was some ramshackle defending, to be polite about it, but Newcastle still had to make the most of the chances that came their way. How did they create them with such regularity?
Well, you're absolutely right. It was a bit of both. I think Qarabağ didn't start the game particularly well, didn't get to grips with the pace in the forwards in terms of Anthony Gordon, Elanga and Harvey Barnes. They didn't get to grips with that until half-time when they made the change and went free at the back. I just think it's such a good performance because before the game, I'm hearing Andy Brissell and European experts, and they're saying this is going to be tricky. It's a tough place to go. They've had a good run. They drew Chelsea here 2-2. So that's why I think it puts that into your brain that it could be difficult. But it was such a professional performance, particularly in the opening 15-20 minutes. Once they went 1-0 up, 2-0 up, they didn't stop. They continued and they missed chance after chance. And then they got the penalty, probably fortunate. And they, from the restart, they won it back, high intensity, high press, got the 4th goal. Then they won another penalty. As professional a performance as they come, and the ability shone through in the end.
Been very few instances in the 21st century of a Newcastle player scoring 4 goals in a game. For Anthony Gordon to do it in a Champions League tie, and he's now the club's most prolific goal scorer in the competition. 10 goals he scored in 9 Champions League games for Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. Opened the scoring, didn't he? And then, you know what I love about him as well? The penalties that he takes. He's so confident. You never look like he's going to miss. The second penalty in particular, where he'd already taken one, it's difficult to take a second one. So confident. Kachalski went the right way on both, but it was just hit too well. The runs he makes as well, and particularly with Voltemade that's playing the number 10, it's probably a little bit disappointed that he's not playing out and out number 9, which is what he was brought in for. He turns and he can feed. Some of the runs he makes, I mean, it was Dan Burns' through ball for the first goal that was magnificent. He never looks like he's missing, albeit he did miss a couple. He still makes the goalie work thought it was an outstanding performance.
What do you make of Voltemada as a 10? Because when Johan Wissa's fit and Gordon in the goal-scoring form that he's been in, it seems in a way that there's a better balance in Newcastle when Voltemada doesn't play up front. Am I right in saying that, or do you, with your professional opinion, think that he is a centre-forward?
Yeah, no, you are right in saying that. Look, essentially, he is a centre-forward, but he's not mobile enough, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. He's not going to make the runs of Anthony Gordon. He's not going to make the runs of Elanga and Harvey Barnes. So to put him in there, he can, because he's not blessed with pace, he can find gaps because he's clever, he's smart, because he has to find gaps. So I do like him in there. It's a concern that when Guimaraes is fit and Joelinton is now back and Tonali, I mean, those three in the midfield are fantastic. So is Eddie Howe fitting him in at the moment until those three are fit and then they'll play them? I just feel he's probably not an automatic starter when everyone's 100% fit, albeit I think he's a really good player.
In the first half, Newcastle had 18 attempts without reply. And it was a much more even second half, as you can see from the scoring. Both sides just traded one goal in the second half, albeit that Newcastle still continue to have the better chances. Do you think Eddie Howe will be frustrated with the way that they just took their foot off the gas a little bit, or is it absolutely a natural phenomenon, bearing in mind the tie was already over after 45 minutes?
I mean, it's definitely a natural phenomenon. It's always going to, your intensity levels are going to go down whether you want them to or not. The tie is over, they know it. I said during the commentary that it must be such a difficult half-time team talk to try and keep them going, but also it was vital to not pick up any injuries. So you want to rest some of their legs, you don't want them to go into unnecessary challenges as well. I think he'll be disappointed, and more so Nick Pope and the two centre-halves will be disappointed they conceded and ended up 1-1 in the second half. But it's always going to happen, and not only that, they made a change to their formation. They played three at the back, tough to break down, and their intensity levels rise a little bit because they want to keep their fans on side to a certain degree.
Difficult to judge the Newcastle performance in the first half, bearing in mind the clear limitations of the opposition. But if the Geordies can play like that for large swathes of the game against Barcelona or Chelsea, what kind of chance would you give them?
Oh, look, everyone's got a chance. Everyone that's in the competitions has got a chance. You wouldn't say they're favourites. You wouldn't say they're in the probably top 5 favourites. But look, on their day, a fully fit Newcastle, fit and firing, can beat anyone. And we've seen that, or can compete with anyone. You just need to be take your opportunities when they come. Today they've done that, albeit they didn't take every opportunity. I don't make them in the top 5 favourites, but you never know in the Champions League. That's why we love it.
Well, time now to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
The Here For It hero on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
Well, here's a tough one for you, Darren Ambrose. Who are you going for?
Of course it isn't tough. Look, there's been some outstanding performances. I thought Tonali worked extremely hard in the midfield there. I thought the two centre-halves were brilliant. Chow got his goal. I could have easily given it to their goalkeeper, by the way. Kaczowski, I thought, had an outstanding game. But look, it has to go to Anthony Gordon. 4 goals. I think he's the 19th player now to score 4 goals in a Champions League game. Excellent first half performance. So Anthony Gordon for me.
You touched on Mateusz Kaczowski there. Hasn't been capped by Poland yet. Would you take a punt on him?
I would. I thought, as crazy as it sounds, to concede 6 goals in the match. He gave away a penalty as well. Just a bit of rush of blood coming out to Anthony Gordon. I thought he was outstanding. He kept that down to single figures and him on his own. So yeah, I'd definitely have a punt on him.
Well, an honourable mention for Kaczowski, the Qarabağ goalkeeper, but Anthony Gordon, the man of the match. Our man of the match here for an hero with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.